Welcome to the Ada K Show. I'm your host, Ada K, and I am a criminal justice major. I am also a deaf courtroom commentator, breaking down the gripping courtroom drama while providing full ASL interpretation, making justice accessible to everyone. Grab a cup of Java and let's dive in. Don't forget, comment, like, and subscribe. And if you love this channel, please become a member. Hey guys, we have breaking news out of Austin, Texas. We're jumping in the middle of it. It's in Cedar Park. Actually, I know that area very well. I have friends and not family anymore, but friends there. Used to have family there. We're going to watch this until we go live at 6 for trial. I am using another.
Sure. So your mom is 88?
Yeah, 88. 88.
Here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
What channel am I watching?
All of them.
All of them. All right.
Tune into KXAM.
I'll scan it tonight. What time is it? About 6 o'clock?
Yeah, 5 and 6.
5 and 6.
It's CBS, ABC,
Yeah.
and
So yeah, the scene. I'm trying to find out is it still ongoing? An hour ago, the Austin Police Department posted APD SWAT responding to the 9200 block of North Lake Creek Parkway. Officers are on scene. Perimeter is secured. Please avoid the area. Media briefing in time to be announced. Location in time to be announced. Oh, that's it. Got it. Oh, no, Ralph with his mama.
Huge presence at the apartment complex. They have turned off the water. There's something going on. They have turned off the water. There is massive amount of SWAT and police. Like I said, we really don't know what's going on. All I can say is that I know that area very well, and I am highly concerned for some people. Now let me go here. Thank you, sir. This is from don't know what's happening. I have to mute it. It's getting too. Let me get this so we can see what it is.
Stuck. You know, Chicago user, are you in LA or are you in Chicago? Is you in Chirac? Cause shit, you got bigger fish to fry over there. Let me tell you. But anyways, yeah. So as I was saying, ducked under my bed, and I tried calling security downstairs. No one picked up. But then my roommate called security downstairs, and they said that they are aware of the situation, but the police didn't arrive until 2 hours later. So it was like annoying because then we heard more rounds of fire at like 6:23, 6:24, whatever. And then yeah, like we were just like shaking in our boots. I was in my closet, like LOL, like why the fuck did I move across the country for this? I left the hood just to get back in this shit. Like be so for real. But anyways, yeah. So I've been awake since 5:30. The eye bags under my eyes are Chanel. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I have no groceries.
Okay, I want to hear about.
Anyways, another day
I want to hear about you, boo. I want to hear what the hell is going on.
LA. Well, in downtown LA, because this is the shit that happens down here, huh? I wish someone told me this before I moved here. And I'm just watching the cop up there, which is 6th. But actually, okay, we're getting out of here. Yay.
The weapons fired themselves, and then somehow they were able to determine where it was coming from, which balcony. They called in tactical alert. They brought in the officers from different divisions from Rampart, Northeast, Central, probably Newton, and then we had SWAT come out. They flew a drone. They were able to see the 2 suspects in there. Looked like they were trying to hide a
the female and the
Okay, he's got 2 situations going on at once, and that drives me crazy. Get back to Austin. All right. I don't know what's going on. Okay, Cedar Park. Okay, well, that's nothing I can do about there. I will continue to keep an eye on that situation in Cedar Park. Possibly could be the power outage in Temple. Yeah, probably not. Let me go back and see if I can find more footage. God, Cedar Park used to be nice, and now it's not so much. I don't see anything. Come on. So there's not anything else on it. I don't know where he's getting the free. This is a SWAT. Let's see what this says. We'll share this. Yeah, I know exactly where that is.
After a 3-hour standoff with an individual at this apartment complex, I'm happy to report that this incident has ended peacefully and has resulted with one person being placed into police custody. So just after 11 a.m. this morning, APD officers responded to the 9200 block of North Lake Creek Parkway here in North Austin, and that was in reference to a burglary urgent call. Now, we did have a female resident call 911 stating that her ex-boyfriend broke into her apartment and did not have permission to be there. It was also learned that this individual had an active felony warrant for family violence, assault by strangulation against the female caller. Now, when APD officers arrived on scene, they were able to make contact with the individual inside. At one point, he began acting very erratically. He barricaded himself inside the apartment and made mention of blowing the building up and not being arrested today. So based on some of that information, our officers did a great job of setting up containment on the apartment complex. They evacuated nearby residents from those apartments, and that prompted an APD SWAT call out. When SWAT was notified, they responded to the scene. They quickly took over the investigation. Officers were able to communicate.
San Antonio SAPD, did you learn anything from that?
With the individual inside. We had our hostage negotiators on scene doing a great job. We also had eyes on the individual as he could be seen on the balcony at certain points in time. They did use a distractionary device, at which time the individual inside decided it was a good time to come on out and surrender. That individual was transported to the Williamson County Jail, and again, that was for the warrant of the family violence assault by strangulation charge. I'm being told that there's no continuing threat over here at the apartment complex. This was an isolated incident. The roadways are back open after a 3-hour standoff with an individual at this apartment complex. I'm happy to report that this incident has ended peacefully and has resulted with one person being placed into police custody. So just after 11 a.m. this morning, APD officers responded to the 92.
Okay, so thank you, Lord Jesus. That's good to know. Okay, good. Because I do have people that I know there, and that just kind of startled me. Sorry, y'all. Kind of startled me a little bit. Thank you, God, that they're fine. Thank God everybody's okay, that nothing happened, and they handled it appropriately. Definitely. Hello, Miss June, my mod in the background. Hello, let's get going today. We got court today. We're going to be doing the second trial of the day, the Devyn Michaels love triangle beheading trial. Okay, so we have first in chat, Out and About with Diane. Second is One Sunny Day. Then we have Hello, it's Bridget Pussycat 6512. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And Sarah, thank you guys for all being here. Thank you guys for being here. Okay, so where are we now? Let's find out. We have been in trial with another trial all day, but thank God, it sounds like that trial is going to be to the jury in by Friday. Yeah, that's the Dyma Tower trial. Hold on. So sorry about that. I meant to do this and get it pulled up, and then I got distracted by the I got very much distracted by that thing I just had up and running. So let me get to my notes and get going and get us a quick recap, and then we're going to be going straight into court. All right, for those of you who are new to this case, the case background quickly. Michaels, a former adult film star actress, is on trial in Nevada for the death of Johnathan Willette, August 23. His body was found decapitated and chemical burning at the time. She mixed ammonia and bleach, and his body was literally smoking. The motive proposed by the prosecutors, Michaels married Willette's son, Deviere Willette, and allegedly sought to remove Johnathan to secure the family structure. Michaels had previously pled guilty to second-degree murder in 2024, but later withdrew the plea and is now facing a full trial. Today's court highlights from November 12th, the digital forensic detective testified showing surveillance footage from the gas station, timestamp 10:05 p.m. on August 6th of 23, showing Michaels and Willette together. The GPS data from Michaels' vehicle, a Nissan Armada, was shown, and the court left Johnathan's residence at 2:04 a.m. on August 7th of 23, which aligns with the reported crime window. The lead homicide detective described the scene. Johnathan's body lying on the bed, decapitated, already inflicted strong smell of cleaning agent ammonium bleach in the hallway. The defense challenged several points, noting that no murder weapon was ever recovered and many surveillance videos lacked embedded timestamps, and the GPS data tracking of the vehicle was not the person inside. Tracked the vehicle, but you couldn't say who was driving it. So evidence in dispute of the prosecution's case emphasizes that Michaels was the last known person to see the victim. Her vehicle data aligns with the timeline of the homicide. Personal effects of the victims, i.e. the phone, wallet, and keys, were found at the location tied to Michaels' home. The DNA evidence on the bag not containing the victim's item was found. So, forensic analysis, decapitation occurred post-mortem. Thank God. I don't know how she did it post-mortem, or even, that's not an easy feat for a woman to do. I think the boyfriend's involved myself. The tools used included both a hand knife and a mechanical power saw. And that's how she did it. Defense argues the opposite. They propose that Deviere Willette had the motive, the means, and they assert Michaels might be covering for him. They point out that the investigative gap, missing weapon, no definitive timestamp on any videos, lack certain forensic gunshot residues, and certain tool tests, etc. That is where we are. And we're going to get into trial. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining. So we're going to go straight in because it's evening and I want to zoom as much as possible.
And we follow her up unless she by hustle.
I'm double checking. Gentlemen, welcome to the Fort Ada Media. Kidding. I'm in a honeymoon tonight.
My name is Carl Lippisch.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
We left off yesterday having gone through a tremendous amount of
Celebrate.
surveillance video. Do you
You're going to get Cellbrite. We're going to finish up with Cellbrite.
recall that?
I do.
Okay. We had talked about a 217 Charter Oaks surveillance video, and we have the disc for that today. We also discussed the terrible Chevron inside video that we also have marked for today. You recall both of those items?
Yes, I do.
Okay. At this time, Your Honor, pursuant to stipulation between the parties, the state is moving to admit 661 and 662.
No objection.
And sir, just to reorient us to that 217 Charter Oaks address, publishing 11A, are we able to see that on this exhibit here?
Yes.
Can you please, if you can, hover it? And if it's too hard on this exhibit, I do have another one. Would that be more helpful?
The other one's a little clearer.
Okay. A lot of tax on this one, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and publish then 9. Can you hover over that 217 Charter Oaks?
Yes. 217 is right where the pointer's at.
And Your Honor, at this time, the state is requesting permission to publish. So as we can see here on this exhibit, specifically 661, there is several video that was collected here, correct?
That's correct.
And specifically what we're looking for here is there was a 2:04 a.m. Activation showing the Nissan Armada turning from Paladura onto Charter Oaks. Is that right?
That's correct.
Publishing doorbell dash 2023-08-07, ending in 110. And there are no date and timestamps on this video, but when you did collect it, you were able to see the date and timestamp on the homeowner's actual system. Is that right?
The detective that collected, yes.
Okay. You as the collective, your team.
Yes.
Playing. I think there's actually a better video there. I think it was actually the driveway angle. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Yes, I know I'm beating. I've got to get this hat done by Friday because Saturday I'm getting my graduation pictures taken. My daughter was so kind.
Publishing the file ending in 1.
My daughter was so kind to find a graduation gown that I can borrow for the pictures. So I got to get this done.
10F subsection 4. Okay. Now, this particular camera here, you mentioned that it is an activation. Is this a full-time recording or does it only activate when there's motion?
This only activates when there's motion.
And this camera in particular is pointing in which direction?
It's pointing towards the intersection. So it's pointing down Paladura towards where the residence occurred, or excuse me, where the homicide occurred at the residence.
So the street in front here, though, is Charter Oaks?
That is Charter Oaks, correct.
Playing the video. And what do we see there, sir?
That's the vehicle. It's the Nissan Armada, and it turned from Paladura onto Charter Oaks, and it's proceeding on Charter Oaks towards the exit of the community at Windmill.
And through the investigation, your team was able to determine that this occurred at 2:04 a.m.
That's correct.
On August 7th of 2023?
That's correct.
Now, turning your attention to the chevron, the inside of the chevron, because we saw the outside of the chevron on Monday, correct?
That's correct.
Publishing Terrible's chevron clip. And so I'm going to pause it there. What do we see in this video here?
This is the front door, the entrance to the Chevron convenience store, Terrible's convenience store.
And this is just a clip from the surveillance video. Does that sound right?
Yes.
And at this point, do we see individuals entering the store?
Yes, we do.
And I'm going to stop right there at 12 seconds. Does that appear to be a female and a male?
Yes, it is.
And did you later determine that that was Devyn Michaels as well as Johnathan Willette?
Yes.
And what does the female appear to be wearing?
She's wearing a white tank top, blue shorts, black and white athletic style shoes with some sort of bag over her shoulder.
I know it's sort of hard to see here. Are you able to see the date and time stamp?
I am
If
not.
you go very closely to the screen there.
It appears to be August 6th of 2023 at 22 something hours. I can't see the
Does
minutes.
it appear to be 05?
It does.
Okay. And that would be 10:05 p.m.
That's correct.
Playing. And then we see the two individuals then leaving the store
Yes.
approximately about 5 minutes later. So this is essentially a screen recording kind of them entering and exiting, correct?
Yes.
With that correct timestamp.
Yes.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Oh, shoot. We have the bingo card, y'all. Thank you so much for that, Miss June. We have bingo card. Okay, I got to pause it. I forgot the bingo card. My apologies. We have bingo card. The bingo card is overruled sustained video. Did he just show video? Sidebarred business records, cell phone. Yeah, he showed pictures. Pass a witness, Google Mac, GPS, break blood, power tool. I don't remember. Refer to notes, objection, nothing further. You're excused. No objection. Text message, cell bright. Photos, move to evidence. Gremlins attack! Exhibitees outside the jury presence. So wasn't that an actual video that they showed? We do have videos. So videos. Ask the witness. Not my job. I can hear him saying it. Jesus, June. I got a needle in my hand. Hey, June, turn the whistle down. Huh? She's sitting here laughing her ass off. I'm like, Shunk. Love you, June. Scared the hell out of me. Oh, shit. That helps. I'm tired, y'all. There we go. We in court now.
Deviere home multiple times as the murder scene, correct?
Yes.
However, you'd agree with me that it's unclear, at least based upon the coroner's conclusions, what the cause and manner of death was.
I was tired, y'all.
I have not reviewed the coroner's report.
Okay.
I've only had 2 hours sleep.
Obviously, the body was missing a head, and fair to say that without the head, it's difficult to determine the manner of death.
You think?
without the head, obviously, that could be a purpose, or excuse me, that could be the reason that the person died. But yes,
Okay,
unless
so-
there was something else prior.
So based upon your involvement, your engagement in this case, did the person die because of a decapitation?
I personally do not know.
Okay.
Love you,
You
June.
were shown videos, and when you were setting up, I'd asked you a question. I said, pay attention to this because I have a couple of questions concerning that.
Yes,
That was the video that was taken from the terrible herbs, correct?
that's correct.
And you yourself collected that video.
From the security personnel, yes.
That's
Or
my
surveillance personnel.
flyers.
What day and what time did you collect that video?
It would have been, I can't tell you the specific date and time right now from recollection, but it would have been within the next day or two.
Okay. If I told you that it appears based upon the paperwork that you collected that on August 11th, 2023, would you have any reason to disagree with me?
I do not.
And was that video taken as a result of a warrant?
I don't understand your question.
Was a warrant served on the terrible herbs, either the corporate center or that particular store, in order to obtain that video?
The warrant, no.
Okay. Was it just turned over then?
Yes.
Okay, but as you sit here today, you don't recall when either the.
Oh my God, that was Angela that did the horn, the train. Oh, June, I apologize. You've been falsely accused. But June, it's usually you. But Angela, thank you so much for waking my butt up. Just y'all, I've got very sharp implements. This is sharp as a needle. It pokes through. It's like a dowel, but extra sharp. I got needles in hand. Y'all be careful with those noises. You're gonna make me bleed. Content creator reviews.
I know it was in, like,
I'm
it was
on.
within several days, within a couple days of the actual incident.
It's okay, Angela.
That they had been
Give it a test. Give it a test run.
Okay, so then that would have presumably been days.
Toot
after
your
the
horn,
event
yeah.
and your investigation on August 7th, 2023.
That's correct.
I'm going to turn your attention now, and I'll let you do this. I don't know. Thank you. And my understanding is we're not going to have this marked and admitted because we're just taking something that's been provided and submitted. But just for the ease of these questions, I'm going to ask to publish this to the jury, Your Honor.
Okay, but this has already been admitted?
Correct. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, any objections stated? No, Your Honor. Okay, go ahead.
And I'm going to turn your attention specifically to the video that you had discussed. And I'll just let you stay there because I'm going to do it. Very good. Specifically, the video 6052 taken from 2696 Paladera.
Okay.
Do you recall your testimony the day before yesterday in reference to that?
I do not specifically to 6052. I would have to see the clip to remember which.
Okay. We'll play that right now and see if
Okay.
that jogs your memory.
We're gonna take care of that, boo.
Let's speed up just a little bit here.
I got you, boo. We're gonna play it so you remember it.
6052. Mm-hmm. Yep. Right. The video that I'm going to want to draw your attention to involves where the lights go on in the Armada. Do you recall that testimony?
The lights, are you talking about the exterior or interior lights?
Interior lights.
Yes.
it was your testimony that this video, which was taken from 2696, you didn't have any timestamps for that video, correct?
On the video that we have, no, I do not.
Okay. All right, we're having another technical difficulty. Just if you have a moment, Your Honor. The player's not going to play right. What I'm going to want to do is, while we're preparing this, I'm going to want to turn your attention specifically to that video to where we see the light go on.
Okay.
Okay. We just have to get it lined up. And again, all these videos have all been admitted and are part of the evidence this jury can refer to. Maybe this one will work. This computer.
I don't see how she was a porn star. You know, porn star. I don't see how she was a porn star. Just don't look right. That don't look right. And my granddaddy used to say, that don't look right.
See the lights on
Guess you
inside?
don't need talent in that department or beauty. Yes, everybody, please take a moment to hit the thumbs up. Go and subscribe. Show your support for this channel. We are a young channel. We are a small but mighty hurry channel. We would definitely appreciate your support. And if you like the content, please become a member.
I'm just going to keep you right there. If we can stay.
Our memberships are super
You
reasonable.
testified that occurred at what time?
That occurred at 23:05:43 was the timestamp on that. Or it's 46, excuse me, I believe.
46. So 11:40, 11:05, 46 seconds.
Correct. Is the timestamp that initially the video itself clip that started.
But we don't have that time embedded in that video, do we?
We do not.
It's your testimony that you got that from a cell phone of the homeowner at this address, 2696 Paladera?
Correct. From viewing the clip on the phone itself.
Okay, on the homeowners.
On the residence, yes.
On the residence. But you didn't take a picture of that time.
I did not.
You didn't in any way memorialize that time, correct?
No, just by documenting it, by writing it down so that I could transfer it to a report. Yes.
Okay. So we have to rely upon your recollection, your completeness, your correctness in getting that date.
That's correct.
And that time,
That's
correct? But that wasn't the only video that you had recovered from that address, correct?
That's correct.
I'm going to show you another video that was recovered from that address. One second. And this is 7557. Is it playing? Mm-hmm. Are you able to tell us what time that image was captured?
I am not.
Let's go to 8879. And all these are same address, same spot. Looks like a work van, doesn't it?
It does actually. It's like a Chevy type work van.
Are you able to tell us what time this image was captured?
No, I'm not.
Let's go to 8619.
He made a mistake. You should always capture an image of the timestamps. Boo! You're starting to sound like Canton, Mass here. Couldn't resist it.
Are you able to tell us what time this image was captured?
I am not.
We'll go to 5280. Are you able to tell us what time this image was captured?
No, sir.
Let's go to 7518.
That ain't good, y'all. This does not bode well for him.
Are you able to tell us what time this image is captured?
No, sir.
3120. Are you able to tell us what time this image is captured?
No, sir.
Image 1087.
This is good cross, y'all. Very good.
Are you able to tell us what time this image is captured?
No, sir.
Image number 0546. Are you able to tell us what time this image is captured?
No, sir.
Now, you testified day before yesterday that you were looking through these videos at these various locations trying to determine if anybody was acting suspicious, trying to determine whether someone was acting as if they didn't belong there. Do you remember that line of testimony?
Yes, I do.
So you'll agree with me that certain things may have slipped through your review of these videos.
By certain things, I'm not sure what you're referring to.
People, vehicles, cars, things of that nature.
No.
So there's nobody that slipped through your review of these
No,
videos.
we reviewed all of the video that we collected.
Uh-oh, he's got something.
Actually have. And speaking of the video that you had collected, I'm going to show you another group of videos. Okay, but they're small because there's not very many.
Okay.
These videos that we were looking at were in reference to the Paladera residence. But let's talk about a video capturing the Porcupine Rim residence. We have 3 videos that are now part of evidence that I'm going to show you.
No, did they reverse that?
Captured from 6505 Taylor Creek
Was that reversed? Should we go back and check?
Avenue. Absolutely. This is from your exhibits. It's the Taylor Creek. Yeah, just leave it.
Looks like this is what she gave us.
6501.
65.
Yeah, it's just a 3 video. Yeah.
6505.
Okay.
Yes. 660.
Exhibit 6. It's a little bit bigger here.
Can we bring it up larger so we can see?
It's pretty quick.
Do you recall your testimony in reference to this video?
Yes.
Up at the right, we have Porcupine Rim. We see Jonathan's truck.
That's correct.
Do you recall the time of this video?
I believe this one was at 9:07 at night, is what the embedded label is on it.
And again, because we have an embedded level so we can see, correct?
That's correct.
Let's look at the second video from that residence. Do you recall this video?
Yes, I do.
What date and time is this video?
This is August 7th, 2023 at 0621 now in the morning.
And again, just so we're clear, this video is capturing the Porcupine Rim residence, right?
Among other things, yes, you're able to see the house on Porcupine Rim.
Then we have a third video. And I believe you testified concerning the contents of these 3 videos.
Yes.
Taylor Creek. That's it, correct?
I don't know. That's it as in,
There were just 3 videos collected from 6505 Taylor Creek.
that's correct.
Now, you relied upon the homeowner or the occupants in order to get those videos, correct?
That's correct.
Was this a Ring video? Do you recall?
The last 2 we just saw, I believe it had the Ring logo on it.
Okay. Did you issue any subpoenas to Ring in order to obtain the entirety of what those videos may have captured?
Nope.
I personally did not.
Was there any downloads or a transfer of the contents of this neighbor's phone to determine what all that address was captured concerning?
I actually did not collect the video from this address, so I don't know what specifically the detective did at that address.
But suffice it to say, in this exhibit, we just have those 3 videos and nothing more.
From that residence, correct.
You can't say with any degree of certainty whether there's more videos that exist, correct?
I did not collect it from that residence, so I do not know. You would have to ask the detective that collected from that residence.
Pass the buck, dude. Good for you.
Is it your testimony that you collected all the video possible in order to capture what may have occurred at the at the Paladera residence at the night in question?
I was one of many detectives that canvassed for video, so I'm able to testify specifically to the people I contacted in the residence I got video from. But we had numerous days and numerous detectives that went out and were responsible for canvassing.
In addition to canvassing, are you aware of any subpoenas that were issued in order to preserve this important evidence?
I don't know. You'd have to ask the other detectives involved. I was not involved in every aspect of the investigation, so I can only testify to what I did.
Now, going from the Paladera residence to the Porcupine Rim residence, did you obtain every possible video to occur the goings on at that home, who may have been leaving or coming back?
From which home?
From the Porcupine Rim home, the home where
I
Devyn Michaels.
collected video from 5530 Porcupine Rim, and that residence provided me with their activations that they had.
Okay. Any others?
Me personally, no.
Are you aware of any subpoenas that were issued in order to obtain basically as much camera coverage of the Porcupine Rim address?
I personally did not submit any. So besides that, I can't testify to what other detectives did.
So then you're unaware of any subpoenas from Ring or Arlo or any other providers in order to get as much coverage of that house as possible? Didn't happen, did it?
As once again, I can only testify to what I did, sir. And if there were other subpoenas or anything that was submitted, that would have been done by somebody else, because I was not tasked with that. So I cannot answer your question because I don't know at this time.
Understood. I'm going to turn your attention to State's Exhibit 11. You had discussed this in your testimony day before yesterday, correct?
Are you specifically the map itself?
Yes.
Yes.
This address is the Porcupine Rim?
Yes, it is. The 5510 Porcupine Rim.
5510.
Yes.
You would testify that the only way in and out was here, correct?
By a vehicle, yes.
By vehicle.
Correct.
But on foot, pretty easy to get out of the neighborhood, isn't it?
I honestly don't know. I didn't attempt to get in or out of that other than be in my vehicle.
There's a walkway right here, is there not?
I see a gap. I don't know exactly what that is. From looking at this map, I can't tell.
Not my vehicle.
And this 5510 Porcupine Rim, I mean, it abuts. It's right up against Rebecca, correct?
That's correct.
Over the fence and you're on a road, correct?
If you're referring to
Oh,
climbing over the back wall, then yes, you would be out on Rebecca Road.
over the river and through the woods to Red Rum Row we go. That's good. Over the river and through the woods to Red Rum Row we go. Prison, that is.
So if I told you that we have a walkway right here, just one door over, and over the wall, there are ways to get in and out of this residence, let's say in the early morning hours of August 7th, 2023, correct?
Yes.
We have this back road along here, Rebecca. Which of these residents did you attempt to obtain video coverage from?
I personally did not canvass that area.
So we don't know what was along here, correct?
I was informed that detectives had canvassed that area and they did not find any video surveillance.
Okay, but do you have any reports in reference to that? Do we have any writings in reference to that? Do we have any officers' reports in reference to that?
I do apologize for answering this way again, but I can only testify to what I did and specifically what I reviewed. And so if there may be some, I don't know.
And fair enough, we're all human, correct? You're a human, you make mistakes, correct?
I didn't say I made a mistake, sir. I said that I'm testifying to the work that I did in this case.
Yo.
So what other work that was done that I was not privy to or I was not a part of would be documented by other detectives. So me personally, I did not canvass that area because that was not one of my tasks. And so I can't testify to who specifically did or what they did or how they documented it.
Let me ask you this, given your involvement in this case from the get-go, was this a complete investigation?
To my knowledge, it was complete, but again, I was not involved in every aspect of the investigation.
So, sir, to your knowledge, this was a complete investigation, correct?
To the best of my knowledge, yes, sir.
And you'll agree with me that you do not have a perfect knowledge of the doings and investigations and investigative steps that were taken in this case, correct?
Considering the volume of stuff that was done, the work that was done on this, no, I do not.
You had testified concerning arriving at the scene of the decapitation. You had testified that you arrived there the morning of August 7th, 2023?
That's correct.
You went in, you viewed the body, correct?
Yes.
You had given testimony concerning cleaning supplies on the first floor, correct?
On the lower level, yes.
There were cleaning supplies on the upper floor, were there not?
I was not responsible for searching that area, so you'd have to show me what you're referring to.
Okay, so you didn't go upstairs and view cleaning products, things in the bathroom from upstairs?
No, as a squad, when we respond, because of the extent of the investigation, we divvy up or divide up the responsibilities. And so when it comes to, for instance, in serving a search warrant, we'll work specific areas so that we can focus on the areas that we are tasked with. So we don't necessarily see the entire residence as you're saying.
I'm going to show you an image, and it's my understanding that all crime scene photos of the Paladera residents have been admitted from the crime scene analysts. Probably in there. I mean, I don't know. There's a stack in there this high. I just have a single photo. If I could.
Make sure that that's in there before, because we can't show it to the
Well, if you want to move to admit it,
I'd move to admit.
Yeah, just move to admit.
Okay. This is from the upstairs, and I'm publishing it with the court's permission.
This is what? What's next in line? Next in line is
T3.
T3.
We'd move.
This is T3 will be admitted. Permission to publish is granted.
Thank you. Getting a little bit ahead of your honor. Thank you. We've got cleaning supplies. Did you see these in the upper story?
Once again, as I already stated, I did not search that area. I see that your photo is showing me cleaning supplies, but I have no reference to like when and where this was.
We had heard testimony first couple of days of this trial where there appeared to be a line near the head, appeared to be a line from a bucket. We have a bucket upstairs, don't we?
If this photo is from upstairs, I do see a bucket in there, yes.
And I will not mislead you with my questions. If I told you this represents a bucket and cleaning supplies from upstairs, would you have any reason to disagree with me?
The only reason I'm saying that is I know you've, in your previous line of questioning, you've asked me about things that I was not responsible for or what I did not do in the investigation. And I just want to make it clear that I don't believe you would try to mislead me. However,
absolutely not.
This is not something I'm familiar with.
Fair enough. And you had given testimony on Monday that you had arrived at the Paladera residence and that you had walked through the crime scene. Do you recall?
Yes.
And I'm now showing you a photograph that was taken from upstairs of this scene. And I'm just asking if you had an opportunity to see this.
I did not.
Okay. Did you view the backyard at the Paladera residence?
I do remember seeing the backyard out the door, yes.
I'll have these admitted. Here, let me. We have these marked T. I move for admission.
Any objection to U3 and D3 state? No, Your Honor. Okay, those are admitted.
I'm going to show you what's now been admitted as defense exhibit U3. I'm going to represent to you that this was taken in the backyard of the Paladera residence. Did you see that footprint?
I did not.
Are you aware of its existence?
If you're telling me that's where it's from, then yes, I am. Now I am.
Turn your attention to defense exhibit V3. Did you see that footprint? And obviously, presumably, it's the crime scene analysts that are measuring it. This footprint was in the backyard of the Paladera residence, correct?
I did not see that while I was on scene, no.
Are you aware of its existence?
I am now, yes.
Are you aware of any testing, comparisons made in relation to this footprint?
Once again, that was not part of my portion of the investigation, so I cannot speak to that.
Based upon your review of this photograph, fair to say that that's a man's footprint?
Can't say that. There's someone
I
with
would have to
big feet who
look
wear
at this
boots.
closer. I don't know how you could come to that conclusion just based on this photo.
It's a fairly large footprint, correct?
There are people, both male and female, that have various size shoes, so I would not jump to that conclusion, sir.
So you're saying you're not aware of this, but you're going to argue with me right now whether this is perhaps a man's footprint or a woman's footprint?
Well, your question actually said that it is a man's footprint based on the size of it. And based on what I'm looking at right here, I would not be able to tell you yes or no whether that is a man or woman's footprint.
Let me ask you this in reference to your investigation. Were you involved in any follow-up concerning these footprints?
I was not.
Another court's indulgence.
I really thought he was going to get him. But if he was not a part of that, part of the investigation, then he would not have knowledge of it. So why are we beating a dead horse, y'all? Sorry, horse.
I have no further questions. Thank you, Detective.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, you had testified on cross about the 2696 Paladera address, which is next door to the murder house, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And those cameras, that camera specifically, you're able to figure out sort of the time frame of the activations by comparing the other surrounding surveillance video homes that were collected, correct?
That's correct.
And so by reviewing everything, you're able to cross and compare the time frame so that you can be confident to testify today as to the date and time frames.
That's correct.
Additionally, you did see the date and time frame on the home
She went to pick up her, I think,
I didn't do
at
anything.
CVS, and then she gave us the specific place that the specific address to the CVS.
And you follow up on that?
I did.
And was there video showing the defendant in the?
I would not jump to that conclusion, sir. It's African Violet is the name of the street. You actually see it in front of that house when from their activations.
Okay, so that's the explanation, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then also that Taylor Creek address that we keep talking about that shows the 5510 Porcupine Rim address.
Yes.
You're aware that motion activated cameras have different sensitivity levels.
Correct.
So a homeowner that has a motion activated camera can actually go in their app if it's hooked up to an app or something, right? To change the sensitivity levels. Is that right?
The sensitivity, the zones, and how they want it to capture. Yes.
Okay, but including sensitivity.
Correct.
Like what actually causes it to activate.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so as we're seeing in that video, it seems that the only activations happen when the homeowner is basically in the driveway is when it starts to activate, which is pretty close to the camera, correct?
Correct.
Pass witness.
I had one follow-up. We have to hook up the computer for just a moment. And Detective, this is in reference to the 6505 Taylor Creek, the one that you're giving testimony concerning. We only have 3 videos and it's only motion activated.
Okay.
Yeah, you can start it. We're going to play it a couple of times. So if there is motion activated, it appears that the Paladera or the Porcupine Rim, it does activate, correct?
It activates. I don't know what activates it in this one.
So then as far as when it activates, when it doesn't, we just know that we're stuck with 3 and you had to rely upon the homeowner, correct?
That's correct.
You had to rely upon what the homeowner provided you, correct?
Again, I can't testify to what the detective did. I don't know if the detective viewed the entire timeline, and those were the only 3 that were activated, but those were the 3 that were provided.
Thank you. I have no further questions. Thank you, Detective.
You're welcome.
Not at this time, Your Honor. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, jury, have any questions for this witness? Okay, seeing no response, sir, you may be excused. Thank you very much for the testimony that you made.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your counsel for the privilege.
She uses her hair to hide her face well. Have you guys not noticed that? She is hiding her face well with her hair. I find that interesting considering what she used to do for a living. Are we embarrassed now?
Ladies and gentlemen, I know you guys just got here, but we're going to take our lunch recess because we have some things we have to get in order to make sure that this afternoon runs smoothly for you. I swear we are trying our best to streamline as much for you as we can so that we don't have to keep wasting your time. So just so you know, none of us will be eating. We'll be getting that stuff together, but I'm going to give you guys your lunch break at this time to get that stuff together for you. During this recess, you must not discuss or communicate with anyone, including fellow jurors, and anything regarding the case on this matter, either by voice, phone, email, text, internet, or other means of communication or social media. You must not read, participate in news or media accounts or commentary about the case. You must not do any research, such as consulting dictionaries, using the internet, or using record materials. You must not make the investigation, test, theory of the case, recreate the aspect of the case, or in any other way investigate or learn about the case on your own. You must not forward express anything regarding this case unless finds due to you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 10 to 12, being recessed till 1:30.
All rise for the jury.
So, you do with needle and thread law. Okay, let me anchor myself so I don't spill my beads. Okay, so with that, we're going to zoom. We had a long break, y'all. Okay, I want to talk real quick about something in this trial. Number one, the fact that there were no date and time stamps on some of those videos, to me, is a little disconcerting. But I do not feel that the defense proved enough reasonable doubt as to the validity. I hate these glasses. As to the validity of those videos. I am embarrassed to look who she's married before. Yeah, she was married to another red drummer. What was his name? Baker? Who killed Monica Simatili's husband? Yeah, what a pair they were. Yeah. I think that the defense really tried hard at hammering in on the fact that there were no timestamps on the videos, but that doesn't really mean a thing as long as it's documented and documented properly. I don't think that pulls me. I don't think that pulls me in this side of the fence. What do y'all think? What do y'all think about that? Robert Baker, yep. He was a Cone star and a Cone star producer. And she was married to him and she was a Cone star. And I bet you I could find videos of her if I really wanted, but I don't. I don't care to see that. Just the mental image is bad enough. But yeah. I don't think that if I'm on the jury, that was a no thing for me. Excuse me, pussycat. Hello, June. Let's do a card check. There was no objection, overruled, sustained. Break. Didn't he say I do not remember? I can't remember. Soxy, get off of that. Get. She's sitting on top of my computer and she's choking the airflow. Nothing further was said. You're excused, I believe, was said. Tell me if I'm wrong, June. Yeah, she has 3 names. Cellbright was mentioned at the very beginning. They moved into evidence. They showed exhibits, and that's where I have it. If I'm wrong, Mama June will let me know. All right, let's get back and forth.
Yes, Your Honor.
Janice Ozawa.
Oh, that woman talks about like the fast and you can't understand the things she says. All I see is her lip movement, but I don't know what she says. Y'all ready? Woo! Oh, you me. I only had 2 hours sleep, y'all, so I ask your apologies.
I do.
And officer, would you please state your full name and then spell it for the record?
Full name is Dennis Ozawa. First name Dennis. Last name Ozawa.
Sir, what do you do for a living?
Currently a detective with the Henderson Police Department.
How long have you been a detective with Henderson?
Approximately 8, or a detective, approximately 10 years.
And how long have you been in your current assignment?
Approximately 8.
What is your current assignment?
I'm with the Crimes Against Persons Unit.
And what does that entail generally?
For the Crimes Against Person Unit, it entails we investigate a wide variety of violent crimes in City of Henderson, to include robberies, kidnappings, shootings, death investigations, officer-involved shootings, and homicides also.
And so you've been doing that for 8 years. What were you doing in the 2 years prior as a detective?
I was a fraud detective prior.
And what were you doing prior to that?
Patrol officer.
How long were you a patrol officer approximately?
Approximately 10 years.
During the course of your career, sir, have you received numerous trainings on law enforcement best practices?
Correct.
And during the course of your career, have you responded to hundreds of crime scenes?
Correct.
In your 8 years with homicide, have you ever responded to a decapitation case prior to this case?
I have not.
Fair to say that this particular investigation was a large one.
Yes.
Entailing many supports personnel such as crime scene analysts, other detectives from homicide, and actually other units called in to assist in the investigation.
That is correct.
In this particular case, did you get called out to a homicide at 20 Haladura on August 7th, 2023?
I did.
Do you remember around what time you were called out?
I believe it was approximately in 9:40 is when we were notified.
9:40 in the morning?
Correct.
And what time was the actual call for service, sir?
I believe it was approximately 8:40 in the morning.
Who was the person reporting?
Yoko Willette.
What was the general information you received before responding to this?
From what we were told, that from dispatch, that Yoko had called in, advised that she had found her son, Johnathan Willette, in his bedroom, and he was all bloody, and believes that he was dead at that time.
And so, is it fair to assume that fire and first responders went out to the scene before you did?
Yes,
And it was confirmed that Johnathan was in fact deceased?
that is correct.
Did you say the victim's full name for the record?
Johnathan Willette.
Once you arrive at the scene, you get called out around 9:40. What happens when you arrive?
When we arrive, when we, meaning our Crimes Against Person Unit plus the crime scene analysts, we start to show up. As soon as we all arrive, we're waiting for a brief from the supervisor who's on scene. And then once we're there, he provides the brief, basically kind of explain what they did as far as entering the house, any observations that they made at that point, and then the fact that they had probably talked to Yoko, and then we found out about another person that was there at the time with Yoko. I believe his name was Masao Yoshida. That they were the only two there at the house, and then which the supervisor at that time was Sergeant Shields, who we had spoke with to give us the brief.
Okay. Once you get your briefing from Sergeant Shields, is there a quick walkthrough done of the scene?
That's correct.
In addition to that, did you assign various investigators to different tasks in and around the scene?
That is correct.
Was witness canvassing conducted?
Yes.
What does that mean for the jury?
For witness canvassing, we have other detectives kind of walk around the neighborhood and knock on doors, see if anybody heard or seen anything that night. And then for us, we're going to be talking to the witnesses that were on scene at that time too.
During the course of the witness canvassing, did you learn of any witness who suggested that they heard a gunshot in any time during our operative time period?
No.
Was there video canvassing done as well?
That is correct.
What does video canvassing generally entail?
Typically, it's in the same way where we have detectives go out, knock on doors, and try to find out if anybody has any video surveillance attached to their residence, and if they captured any kind of footage that would be beneficial to our investigation.
And those detectives who do that, are they documenting what they find?
That's correct.
And then ultimately, you as the lead investigator, do you receive that documentation?
Correct.
And then is it your responsibility to then transfer that documentation into an overall report so the lawyers in a murder trial can actually see what was done and who did it, et cetera?
That is correct.
In this particular case, was the entire investigation documented under Henderson Police Department event number 23-15229?
Yes.
During the course of the video canvassing, did you learn that there were some people who had cameras that were not initially contacted?
Can you rephrase that?
So, well, let me ask it in an easier way. Did the video canvassing occur over the course of several days?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So maybe not all done on day one, but there's
Yes,
follow-up and stuff that's occurring.
Yeah, as the investigation continued, we continued to try and look for more video surveillance throughout the investigation.
All right. So let's talk about the scene generally. I want to start with the outside. What did you observe outside, meaning vehicles or anything of note?
So when I arrived, I observed that the area being the actual residence, had been taped off with crime scene tape. There was a white truck parked out in front with a trailer attached to it. That it was parked on the wrong side of the road, which then that kind of brought notice to us that also the trailer was kind of out a little bit into the road, which in our eyes, or in my opinion, looked like someone was there for a quick trip, not someone that wanted to park there and leave it there overnight. There was also a cone that was in the driveway that we later found out that was indicated that patrol believed that there was possibly a blood mark right there. And then the garage had actually been partially open from the bottom.
And in addition to the truck with the trailer, there was also a small sedan out front, correct?
Correct. And that was parked across the street.
And ultimately, did you determine who was the owner of that vehicle?
We did.
Who was that?
A female named Andrea Reyes, who then we discovered was an ex-girlfriend who recently broke up with our victim, Johnathan Willette.
Based on the fact that her vehicle was out front at the home, was she a person of interest initially?
Correct.
Did you do follow-up investigation to include obtaining her call detail records as well as interviewing her?
That's correct.
Do you remember which detective interviewed Andrea?
It would have been Detective Lionel.
Okay. Without getting into her statement, that would be hearsay, but like, did you learn anything of big evidentiary value related to Andrea?
Not from Andrea. We learned that we had been told that she was in another state at the time. Was in question. And then after talking to her, we found out that she confirmed that. And then with the records that we got from her phone later, confirmed that she was in a different state at the time that we were looking at.
Okay, but nonetheless, you look into it. Her car's out front. You gotta check your boxes, right?
That's correct.
Did you? Well, describe the actual scene walkthrough when you go inside. What do you remember about it?
So when we go in through the front door, to get, I guess, a little descriptive, you walk in, there's a flight of stairs that you go up that kind of takes you to a small den area. And then you have stairs off to the right side of us that take you up to the second floor. And then if you continue to move forward a little bit more, there's the kitchen area. And then to the right of that, you have to walk back down a few flights of stairs, which is where Johnathan Willette's bedroom, makeshift bedroom, would be, because it's, I guess, technically a living room, but it's converted to like his bedroom. I believe there were some sheets that were kind of covering the entrance up. I guess we would say that it's using for privacy. And then once you walk down those stairs, you end up going into his bedroom. Can't see the bed where he was lying at that time, because it's kind of tucked back in the corner. And then as you kind of move forward more into the room, you can see the bed, you see the blankets. Can't see him yet, and you don't see him or his body until you get closer to the front of the bed, and then you start to wrap around. Then at that point you can start seeing the blood on the bed, blood stains, and then blood next to the bed at that point. And then when we get closer, or at least when I got closer, you could have that chemical smell that started burning your nose and your eyes at that time, which we were told from Sergeant Shields originally that was the same thing that they smelled. And I think they actually also mentioned that they had saw smoke coming from the body when they went through at their time. But there's also the chemical bottles that were observed in the hallway, ammonia, I believe it was bleach. And later on, we actually did search if you actually combine those together, what it does. It actually creates a toxic gas called chloramine. That was just something that was found out later. But and then as you get, like I said, you got closer to the bed, you can see his body where it's just the top of his shoulders. The blanket was pulled up, and then you didn't see his head. Obviously, his neck was severed. Blood was there on the blanket, and then we also noticed that there wasn't any blood spatter on the walls or on the ceiling. Just given the type of injury that we were seeing, you expect to probably see a little bit more blood in other places. And then just through that quick brief walkthrough, I didn't see any weapons or any devices that were believed to be used that would have severed his head off at that time.
As a result of that very strong chemical smell, did the walkthrough get kind of cut short and you step out for a while?
That's correct.
Ultimately, you need to get a search warrant from a judge in order to actually do a thorough search, correct?
Correct.
And was that done in this case?
Yes,
Did you at some point on the scene interview Yoko?
we did.
Did you learn, according to Yoko, who was the last person to be with John while he was alive?
Yes, we did.
And who was that?
We discovered she had mentioned that a female name that she only knew as Nikki at the time, and said it was his ex that he had 2 kids with. But later on, we ended up finding out that her name was Devyn Michaels, or just a different name with Devyn Michaels.
And ultimately, does one of your other detectives obtain a phone number for Miss Michaels?
That is correct.
Is that 702-677-4430?
That is correct.
And was that Detective Pappas?
Yes,
Did Pappas contact her?
he did.
And was she asked to come back to the scene?
Yes, she was.
Did she arrive on the scene?
Yes.
With whom?
We believe the kids were with her at the time.
And what was she driving?
A Nissan Armada.
Did you make contact with her down the street?
We did.
Did you and Detective Pappas conduct an interview with her?
We did.
If you could the jury's already heard it, but so can you just give us a quick summary of what you learned of any potential value in that first interview?
So with our first interview, we just basically try to get as much. We wanted to make it short, but try to get as much information as we could to follow up on later, given the fact that we were told that she was the last person to have seen him. So when we talked to her, a little suspicion that was raised because she wasn't very detailed on what she did with them that night, given we were told from Yoko that approximately between 10 and 1 o'clock that Devyn was there with them. So when she first explained what they had done together, it was just school shopping the day prior, and then just kind of went into that they were loading things back and forth from the Polidora address to her address at 5510 Porcupine Rim, I believe is the address, and that they were basically just loading things and unloading things. And that's kind of what at first she told us at the beginning.
Okay, let me stop you and just ask a couple specifics.
Okay.
Basically, in this first interview, did she claim John was alive and smoking in the garage when she left?
Yes.
Was that inconsistent with what you had learned prior from Yoko?
That's correct.
Describe that.
So what we had learned from Yoko is that when Yoko advised that she had come down at approximately 1 o'clock in the morning, and this is already after she had spoken to John and Devyn prior to that, but she only had seen Devyn at that time around 1. And then Yoko advised that Devyn had told her that John was sleeping in the bedroom because he had been drinking already, and that they were planning on going in the next morning to take the kids to school, get them ready, and get them registered. So I think the next day, on the 7th, was actually first day of school that week. And then compared to what Devyn told us is that she had told us that John was awake in the garage at the time when she had left. So those statements were contradictory to each other.
Ultimately, you obtained that warrant from the judge, correct?
Correct.
And did you execute a search warrant along with a whole lot of supporting detectives?
Correct.
During the course of the search warrant, the actual search, did you notice any particular items that were maybe missing from the scene, or something you would expect at the scene that wasn't there?
Yes. close to when the search warrant was being completed, we were basically looking for a cell phone of Jonathan's, his wallet, and possibly the keys too, because we were interested in the truck. But that we did not find his truck keys or his wallet with his ID or his cell phone anywhere at the house.
Did you find anything in the scene that could potentially be a murder weapon?
We did not.
Any weapons or I guess I should say items in the scene that you felt could have been used to decapitate John?
We did not.
You mentioned the blood staining earlier, and I want to just get a couple more details. I believe you already said no blood on the walls or ceiling, correct?
Correct.
Have you been on crime scenes in the past in which there are gunshot injuries?
Yes.
Have you been on sharp force injuries or stabbing cases in the past?
Yes.
Blunt force injury cases?
Correct.
Sometimes single blunt force, sometimes multiple blunt force, correct?
That's correct.
When it comes to multiple blunt forces, would you expect to see some cast off?
That's correct.
Why is that?
From multiple blunt force trauma, when we say cast off, we say that after the first hit, which would cause the bleeding at that point, and then as the continued hits after the fact, the blood would be on whatever object that was striking the body or the head at this point, and it would have had cast off coming off the item, and you would have that somewhere on the walls or somewhere near where the strikes were occurring.
But that's not necessarily the case if you have a single.
For one single blow, no.
Did you find any firearms evidence at the scene?
No.
Based upon your review of the scene, did you determine that a gun was probably unlikely to have been used in the scene?
Yes. So basically, since the fact that there were no bullet impact marks, there were no, like in the wall, there were no bullet impact marks that we saw in the mattress, no blood spatter from a bullet impact going through a body or a head was seen. Also, the fact that Yoko and Yoshida didn't report that they heard a gunshot, and there were no phone calls coming from the neighborhood that there was a gunshot. There was no reason to believe that a gun was used in this incident.
As a result of that, are you generally kind of focused, narrowing your focus in on sharp or blunt weapons?
That is correct.
Not ignoring a gun if you come across it, but your focus, what you're really looking for is sharp or blunt.
At that time, yes.
Did you later learn that it was reported that a knife was missing from the scene?
That is correct.
Based upon the blood patterning as you saw it, can you describe kind of some of your investigative deductions you got from the blood near John?
So when you got closer to the body and where you saw the blood on top of the actual mattress, you saw it there next to his body, and then you kind of saw some off on the side of the bed, and there was a little bit of pool of blood at the bottom on the carpet. Then when you look at it, you can kind of see there's certain voids in the blood. So when we roundtabled it, talked together, it was kind of determined that, hey, there's probably something placed there, because where the blood was actually at, you could see, like I said, some voids. So where maybe a possible container was that possibly collected a lot of the blood, because even though there was a good amount of blood that was there on the scene, not as much as what you would believe, considering the type of injury that you saw with his head severed.
And, try not to ask this in too morbid a way, but if you're assuming, or did you assume the decapitation occurred there in the scene?
That's correct.
If you're assuming that is the case, and the head finally is lopped off, if there's nothing under it, would you expect kind of a splash or a different pattern?
That is correct.
Did you notice whether there was a doggy door in the room?
Yes.
And what did you notice about that, or what deductions did you come to from that?
We were told that the doggy door was closed, which was unusual. When we were told by Yoko, And then when you saw where the doggy door was at, next to the slider, and you witnessed that it actually was still shut at the time.
As a result of the observations you made at the scene, did you or other detectives contact the defendant over the phone?
That's correct.
Was that you?
Yes, it was.
Okay, and same phone number we just mentioned a minute ago?
That's correct.
What was the content of that? Was that a short contact?
After our initial interview?
Yes.
Yes.
Was there something referenced about a Burlington coat factory?
Yeah, so I had contacted Devyn again over the phone because we wanted to talk to her, ask more clarifying questions, and actually talk to Deviere also. So we asked if she was willing to meet. She said yes, and then we were going to head up to her place at 5510 Porcupine. During that conversation, she had mentioned that one of her daughters had actually told her that while they were school shopping at the Burlington Coat Factory, somebody had a male had approached the daughter. I can't remember which one it was, but male had approached the daughter and Johnathan at the Burlington Coat Factory and made the comments, I believe, "I'm coming to get you." So being that it's still early in the investigation, things that we need to investigate everything, as myself and Detective Skinner are driving to the Porcupine Rim address, we had another detective go to the Burlington Coat Factory that she said that they were at and review video surveillance from that place.
And what was learned during the course of that?
So the video surveillance was reviewed. I believe Detective Kondratovich, who then relayed to me that at no time did he see anybody approach John and his daughter, and it looked like there's any kind of confrontation at all with anybody at the store.
Okay, so something that the defendant mentions it, you attempt to verify it. There's no evidence of it, but you note it for your investigation.
Correct.
And then did you start heading toward the 5510 Porcupine Rim address?
Yes, sir.
Who'd you go with?
Detective Skinner.
As you arrived on scene, did you notice any trash cans out front?
Yes.
Throughout
the neighborhood.
Throughout the neighborhood?
Correct.
In addition to noting it's trash day and there's trash cans throughout the neighborhood, did you notice anything as you approached the actual home?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So when we're approaching her house, her vehicle, the Nissan Armada, is parked on the left side of the driveway. And then at that time, Devyn was already outside. It looks like she was taking things from her car back to the house. So then we follow her up the driveway. And as walking up the driveway, I see a black cell phone on the ground in a spot that typically you wouldn't have to see a cell phone just sitting on the floor. So I take note of that, and it looked like it was either dropped or left there. But at this point in time, we know that we're still missing John's cell phone, so there's a possibility that could be a cell phone. Take note. I let Detective Skinner know that also, and then we continue to follow Devyn inside the house.
And just so we're clear, as you're walking up, I'm not going to pull the photos up, but you said the defendant's vehicle is on the left.
Correct.
Of the driveway, parked nose in, facing the home.
That is correct.
Where is the cell phone in relation to her car?
It would have been close to the garage on the driver's side of the vehicle, and near the rock landscape that's on the outside of the driveway.
The vehicle meaning the Nissan Armada.
The Nissan Armada.
On the
correct.
driver's side.
Correct.
Okay. Why is it that you don't go pick it up right there and you just take note of it and talk to Skinner about it?
Because at that point, we want to be able to talk to Devyn and Deviere, and we want to be able to not have them know that we have that phone at that point. So we're not sure if it is John's phone, and if it is, then obviously our interviews are going to be different when we talk to them. So if it's actually evidence that we're going to need or use, it's going to be something that we want before we can talk to them and get more information from them. We don't want it to basically have them use that information also now to come up with different a story, I guess, per se, with us.
And as a homicide investigator, you are aware that you can't just go seizing evidence without a warrant, correct?
Correct.
And so even if you wanted to, you couldn't just walk up and seize the cell phone at that time. You would have to get a judge to sign off on the actual search.
That's correct.
Did you make contact with Deviere?
Yes.
Where was that? Was it out front, inside? Do you remember?
Initially inside the house, and then I conducted an interview with him inside my vehicle.
And did you conduct a recorded interview?
That is correct.
Audio recorded?
Yes.
Did you notice anything about Deviere as you began to talk to him?
When we entered my vehicle, there was a heavy odor of alcohol that I detected, and then he actually apologized in the interview at the beginning, saying that he had actually been drinking since he had gotten home, and said he was sorry that he was basically possibly intoxicated.
Did he say why he started drinking when he got home?
Basically because of the news that he found out about his dad being deceased.
And you've spoken to dead people's next of kin and families many times in your career.
That is correct.
Was that out of the world of reasonableness for you, or what?
No, obviously I told him that, hey, I understand what you're saying, or why you've been drinking. It's people mourn in different ways, and that is one way that people mourn is they tend to drink sometimes too.
Nonetheless, even though he's been drinking, you still want to talk to him and ask him some questions, correct?
That is correct.
And you did that?
Yes.
Again, the jury has gone through a lot of evidence before you testified, so I'm going to just hit a couple of points and you correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Generally, did Deviere say he had been home all day the day before?
That is correct.
Did he actually initially say, I was working, and kind of correct himself and be like, wait, is yesterday Sunday, that kind of thing?
That is correct.
So he corrected himself.
Yes.
And then he says he was home the day before, meaning August 6th.
That is correct.
And did he indicate that he was home the night before watching the girls?
Yes.
Did he, in your opinion, minimize the sexual relationship with the defendant?
He did.
And just generally, I'm not going to hold you to precise numbers, but was Deviere a bit younger than the defendant?
He was.
There was a question asked with a prior witness. It might be out of left field with you, but I want to ask you. There was kind of a suggestion made that Deviere in this interview mentioned that cell phone in the driveway. Is that accurate?
No.
Did he say anything about the cell phone?
No. As I kind of stated previously, we didn't want to bring up the cell phone, and the fact that we had found it or seen it, just because we wanted to get information from him without kind of any evidence that he would know about at that time.
Okay, so any suggestion made earlier, unintentionally probably, that Deviere brought up that cell phone in the driveway, that did not happen?
No.
Okay.
Not in that interview.
Deviere at home during the time frame, indicate that he worked the next morning and learned of his dad's death via phone calls from family and stuff?
That is correct.
I'm not going to go into too much detail on the phones because we have other witnesses to do that, but ultimately you did get his CDRs, correct?
Correct.
Did those CDRs confirm or refute his claim that he was home last night?
They confirmed his statement.
With the video canvassing, that was done at Porcupine Rim and Paladora, correct?
Correct.
Was there any video in the area of Porcupine Rim that depicted Deviere's vehicle or vehicles moving away from the scene?
No.
And while you were talking to Deviere, did Detective Skinner talk to the two young girls?
That's correct.
Did you conduct an interview with the defendant, Miss Michaels, prior to executing the search warrant on Porcupine Rim?
Yes.
During the course of that interview, does something beep and draw your attention?
Yeah. During that second interview with Devyn, there was a Republic Services trash truck that had driven by and honked its horn and picking up the trash through the neighborhood.
At some point during that second interview, did the girls approach the vehicle?
That is correct.
Describe that.
It was close towards the end of the interview, and one of the daughters had came up and she was holding a black cell phone in her hand. When we rolled down the window, they basically were saying, "Hey, mommy, this is daddy's cell phone. This is the reason why you can't get a hold of him." So then she hands the phone to Devyn, who then we take the phone from her and it's given to Detective Skinner. And then basically Devyn confirms that cell phone does belong to Johnathan at that point.
Did you note anything particular about the cell phone itself?
Yeah, and then we discovered that on the cell phone, the screen is cracked, and then there's apparent blood on the screen at that time.
After this, do you end up getting that search warrant through a judge for the Porcupine Rim address?
Yes.
And did that include the Porcupine Rim address itself as well as the cars?
That is correct.
All the vehicles?
All vehicles on scene.
Did that include a work van?
Yes.
And Your Honor, we had missed these earlier, so I believe there's a stipulation to 653 to 658 as well as 659. Yes.
653, 659,
did you yourself conduct a search warrant on the work truck?
I did not myself.
Just going to show you though, these are part of your investigative file, correct? 653,
Correct.
654, correct?
Correct.
655,
Yes.
656,
Yes.
657,
Yes.
658.
Yes.
And do you remember who searched that vehicle?
I believe it was Detective Lionel and Detective Christopher.
And then there was also a crime scene analyst documenting stuff.
That is correct.
Were there any bloody weapons, tools, or anything of that nature found within that vehicle?
No.
Was the small sedan also searched?
That is correct.
Was there anything of note or evidentiary value associated with that?
There was not.
Did you note how the van was parked in relation to the car? Not the Nissan Armada yet, but the small sedan.
The work van that Deviere said that he was the one using, yeah, it was parked partially in front of the Honda Civic. And we just kind of took note of that. It's strange because there was a lot more room on the street to be able to park where there wouldn't be any reason why you would block the vehicle.
Was the Nissan Armada searched on scene or no?
Not on scene, no.
Was it sealed on scene?
Correct.
States 250, is that the Nissan?
It is.
And 248, is that a different angle of the Nissan?
That's correct.
So earlier you were describing where that cell phone with blood and cracked screen was found. Is it over here to the left in this photo?
That'd be correct.
Further off?
Close to the rock landscape off there.
Got it. Did you observe anything about the Nissan itself?
When you first looked at the Nissan, it looked freshly cleaned on the outside, like it had been ran through one of the car washes that you just drive through, because it was clean, but yet you could still see like the water stain marks on it still.
251, this is a better photo that actually shows the rock. So it was over, was it this way more toward the driver's door or? Don't click or the judge will yell at you.
Okay.
You can toggle over, but don't click.
So it would have been somewhere around this area right here.
And for the record, you're just pointing to the small gap of rocks we can see in 251.
That is correct. Yes.
That Nissan Armada was searched later at the lab, correct?
Correct.
Anything of evidentiary value that was found within the vehicle?
No.
Did you obtain a search warrant for the Nissan Armada's infotainment system?
We did.
And did you execute that warrant and one of your detectives pulled the infotainment system with data out of it?
That is correct.
Ultimately, did you review that pretty thoroughly?
Yes.
That data associated with that?
Correct.
Was there anything of note related to that as well as the victim's phone?
In reference to the actual information taken from the vehicle, we got location data from there. So it showed basically from when it left Porcupine Rim and then went back to Pauladura, and then we had it leaving Pauladura at the middle of the night around 2:04, I believe, and then heading back to Porcupine Rim. And then with our, are you saying about our victim's cell phone?
Yes.
Later on, we were able to figure out that his cell phone had left the same time as the vehicle, which for us would say that Devyn was in possession of his cell phone at the time when it went back to the Porcupine Rim address.
Did you also, in addition to all the vehicles, search the home at Porcupine Rim?
Correct.
I want to show you 659. Can't remember if we had marked this earlier, so I just added it. Do you see some samurai swords here?
That is correct.
Anything of note about those?
There was no blood that we saw on there, and they look like movie prop replica souvenir type samurai swords.
So nothing, no blood on the blades at all, correct?
I don't remember specifically on the blades, but I just know that when I was told there was no blood found on
them.
On them.
Okay. Garage. Do you go into the garage at some point?
Yes.
Do you? Does somebody find some Ring cameras?
Yes.
And do you remember where those were found?
I believe they were in a bag on top of one of the trash cans.
Did you inspect those for an SD card or like an internal storage device?
That is correct.
Did you find one?
We did not.
Did you obtain a search warrant for the footage from Ring associated with those cameras?
We did.
And what did you do with that?
After we submitted the search warrant to Ring to get any video from that actual system, waited for the records, and then we were advised from Ring, which I believe it's Amazon actually, because they're owned by Amazon, advising that there was no actual video recordings available.
Did they have any information to give you?
I believe it was just a subscriber info, which I can't remember if it came back to Johnathan or to the actual house.
Okay, but subscriber info is just paper.
Correct.
Saying who has the account.
Exactly. Who was in charge of the account.
There was no video footage with those cameras.
No.
According to Ring or Amazon.
Correct.
At some point during the execution of the warrant, did somebody find the victim's wallet and keys wrapped in plastic baggies in a female underwear drawer?
That is correct.
You took note of that as well?
We did.
Was there ever a white female tank top found during the execution of the warrant?
There was not.
Any black and white Nikes with a large white swoosh along the side?
We did not.
Why were the keys important if they were?
The keys that were found inside the bag that was tucked away, hidden in the drawer, were important due to the fact that they were the truck keys to Jonathan's vehicle. So,
did you learn something after the arrest of the defendant related to those keys?
that basically those were the only set of truck keys that we had for the Jonathan's truck.
So, did you then go in and release that item of evidence to Yoko so that she could do what she wanted to do with the truck?
That's correct. She had reached out to me asking for the keys because there was another set of keys for her to use.
And I should ask you, during the execution of the warrant back at Paladura, was there ever a set of spare Chevy truck keys found anywhere in that search warrant?
There was not.
During the course of the Porcupine Rim search warrant, did somebody locate a social security card?
Yes.
Was that of any relevance to you?
Not really any relevance. She had told us that Jonathan had given it to her, and it was found in her purse, which she did say that she had in her purse.
Okay. Is it a fair deduction that if someone wanted to make changes to custody or school paperwork, they may need
Yes, they would need a social security card, probably the ID, and any other kind of identifying information for that person.
Did you locate guns inside the home?
We did.
I believe you previously testified that the scene didn't appear consistent with gunshot, but do you take note, document all those guns, etc.?
Correct. Pictures are taken and documented of the weapons that we found. But like we said earlier, there's no evidence at that point to say that a gun was used, so they were just noted and documented.
And ultimately, at this particular scene, are there 11 electronic devices that are taken and later analyzed by digital forensics?
That is correct.
One being the victim's phone that was in the driveway.
Yes.
Was one of them Deviere's device?
Correct.
Another one, the defendant's device?
Correct.
And then any other electronic devices you or anybody else found during the search warrant?
That is correct.
After the search warrant is conducted, or while it's still going on, do you conduct what'll be the third interview with the defendant?
Yes.
During the course of that interview, were you receiving information from your fellow detectives that were still inside?
That's correct.
One of those things being they found the wallet, the ID, the keys, and that?
Yes.
Did you ask the defendant during this third interview about whether John's wallet would be at her house?
I did.
What'd she say?
I had asked her, I think I actually had asked her if she knew where John's wallet was at, and she had told me no.
Okay. Did you then go a little bit further and ask her about, or I guess confront her with the fact that you had found it in the house?
We did.
And what did she say about that?
Then she had mentioned that she had multiple wallets of his with other IDs in it when we confronted her about also the ID. And then we had also talked to her, basically confronting her about that. Well, it's the most current ID. Why would you have that? And she really didn't have an answer for us for that.
I'm going to ask you a very important but specific question. Who is it in this interview that talks about the wallet being wrapped in plastic bags?
She was Devyn.
So she volunteered that info.
That is correct.
You did not tell her that the wallet was found wrapped in plastic bags.
We did not.
Did you ask her, or you or Skinner ask her about the timing of when this would have allegedly been tied in the plastic bags?
We did.
And what was the response, or what did you take from that?
What she had told us, and didn't, with the keys for the truck being in the plastic bag, her time frame wasn't making sense. Just due to the fact that she had told us that when Johnathan had given her the bag and then had dumped stuff in there with the wallet and the keys, it was between the time frame of 8 and 9 o'clock. And then they had still driven from Paladura back to the Porcupine Rim house. And so at that point, she said, when we went back to that house, that's when I had split the plastic bag in my drawer. And then we drove back to Paladura, which we know now also that couldn't have been possible since it was his truck keys that were actually in there. So that couldn't have been the time frame that he had given her all that stuff.
Did you attend John's autopsy?
I did.
Did you notice the obvious very large neck injury?
Yes, I did.
Other than that, were there any bleeding injuries on John's body at all?
There was not.
I want to go back to video surveillance for a moment. It's fair to say that dozens and dozens of homes and businesses were canvassed for surveillance.
That is correct.
And there are lots of hours of footage and data to comb through.
Yes.
You, I would presume, can't do that all yourself, correct?
That is correct.
And so we've previously had a detective testify about a lot of that, but I just want to hit a couple of points with you.
Okay.
You are generally familiar with the surveillance?
Generally, yes.
Generally. So was there footage taken from a Terrible's near the Paladura address?
Yes, there was.
Did that footage show the defendant and John alone leaving the store around 10, 11 p.m.?
It did.
Was there a bunch of footage taken from the Paladura neighborhood itself?
There was.
Was there footage from 2699 Fan Palm?
Yes, there was.
And do you remember if that one was a fixed camera?
I believe, yeah, it was a fixed camera that recorded, constant recorded.
Was that, did that show the victim's truck arriving in the neighborhood about 10, 12 p.m.?
I believe so, yes.
And that would have been consistent with the distance from the Chevron?
It would be.
So if they leave Chevron at 10, 11, it's real close by.
Correct. The Chevron was located just around the corner from their house.
2696 Paladura, was there footage from that?
Yes.
And was that, if you're facing the homicide scene, is that the home to the right?
Yes, it would be.
Okay. Was there a clip of that that you observed that showed the headlights arriving consistently around that time the Chevron video ends and all that?
That's correct.
And that showed two shadows getting out what appeared to be the truck?
That would be correct, yes.
Around 11 a.m. was there, I'm sorry, 11 p.m. was there footage from that camera showing a figure put something in the Nissan, turn it on, and then move it forward a little bit?
Correct.
And then based on where you know that the truck was the next morning, did it appear that the Nissan moved nose to nose with that truck?
It would have, yes.
And fair to say that once it goes off screen, you can't actually see it?
No.
That same camera, was there an activation at 2:04 a.m.?
Yes,
And does that depict generally the Nissan backing up and leaving?
that is correct.
Video from Porcupine Rim. So we're moving now to Porcupine Rim. Was there a couple of videos that showed Deviere's work van parked behind the sedan?
Yes,
And did it appear that that work van stayed in the same spot from night to morning?
that is correct.
Was there video taken from 6505 Taylor Creek?
Yes,
And was that a motion activated camera?
that was.
Did it appear to you that the motion settings or the sensitivity was kind of weak on that one?
Yeah, and I believe I was told that it only activated when there's some kind of movement around the front of the house.
The house itself that it's on?
Yes.
Okay. 6621 Gray Jupiter, was there a fixed camera on that?
Correct.
And was that one continuous recording and not motion activated?
It was.
And is that positioned essentially at the only vehicle entrance and exit to the neighborhood?
That is correct.
Does that show the victim's truck leaving at 9:29 p.m. on the 6th?
Approximately, yes.
Does it also show the defendant's Nissan Armada entering the neighborhood at 2:39 a.m.?
That is correct.
Does it show also show Deviere's work van leaving at 7:31 a.m. for the first time.
It does.
There's a road that's behind the Porcupine Rim address. Is that Rebecca?
I believe so.
Was there any video surveillance at the Rebecca Road? Did you canvass that?
I did.
Was there any video surveillance on Rebecca Road?
No.
There was also a CVS that was mentioned.
That's correct. Devyn had told us that when she left the Polidor address, she had driven home, but prior to getting home, she went to pick up her, I think, child's prescription at the CVS, and then she gave us the specific place that the specific address of the CVS.
And you follow up on that?
I did.
And was there video showing the defendant in the drive-through prescription line at 2:28 a.m.?
Correct.
Was there anyone else seen inside the vehicle other than the defendant?
We did not see anybody else in the vehicle.
Okay. At some point in time, you and your fellow detectives make the decision to arrest the defendant, correct?
Correct.
After her arrest, is there another interview conducted by detectives Christopher and Linau?
That is correct.
You did not witness that, so you can't speak to that, correct?
I did not.
Did you receive from them, without saying what it is, but did you receive from them after the interview like a one-page handwritten drawing?
Correct.
After that, do you conduct a whole bunch of follow-up investigation and start receiving information and analyzing it?
That is correct.
I want to talk about the Burla real quick. Burla being the Nissan Armada's infotainment.
Yes,
Did that particular item of evidence show pinpoint GPS tracking?
it did.
And did that suggest that the defendant's Nissan Armada left the scene at Palladura?
I have to say this, y'all. Look at this guy. He's ashy looking. Hid the background. It looks like he's in front of a green screen, y'all. Heck, my green screen looks better than the real deal. Look at that. I don't know why. It's driving me crazy. I'm looking at him going, I need to add contrast or black. We need to bump the black or add some contrast, dude. You looking pasty and pale. Are you sick? Sorry.
Did you also do a whole bunch of follow-up with call detail?
We did.
And I believe you mentioned this previously, you obtained the CDRs for Andrea Reyes.
Yes,
Did those rule her out?
they did.
And those showed her up in a remote area far away from the scene?
Yeah, I believe in Oregon.
Did you obtain call detail records for the victim's phone?
We did.
And would that be phone number 702-561-9242?
Correct.
Does that sound right?
I believe so.
Those call detail records for Jonathan's phone, did they suggest that his phone kind of went inactive after around 11 p.m. on the 6th?
That is correct.
And then they show that that phone pops up at Porcupine Rim the next morning.
It did.
Did you also obtain Google data separate from the CDRs for Jonathan's device?
That's correct.
And is that what you mentioned earlier, that at 2:04 a.m. it showed traveling the same track as the defendant?
That
Did you obtain CDRs or call detail records for the defendant's main device?
Yes.
Would that be 702-677-4430?
Yes.
And you yourself talked to her on that number, correct?
That is correct.
And was the CDRs on that consistent with what we talked about with the Burla and the Google data?
Correct. They all matched up together.
Did you also obtain CDRs for Deviere's device?
We did.
And was that 707-628-36?
Yes.
Really
there's
sorry.
a subscriber sheet that comes with that.
There is.
And there was a man, I believe it was Joseph Sands, listed as a subscriber.
He was.
Did you do any research into Joseph Sands and the address on the subscriber sheet?
Yeah, we discovered with that same address it was Vacaville, California. Also living there was a female named Arminthia Sands, which is what Deviere told us that's his mom.
Okay, so the male name is Joseph Sands, but you do some research into that to determine if there's a Sands relation.
Yeah.
Did the location data in Deviere's phone suggest that he was home all night at the Porcupine Rim residence and doesn't leave until he goes to work the next day?
That's correct.
Did you cause various items of evidence to be submitted to the forensic lab for further testing?
We did.
I want to talk to you about fingerprints real quick. Did anything of note come back on fingerprints for either the defendant or Deviere at the Palladura residence?
No.
Did a couple of things come back for the victim at his own home and Yoko at her home?
Correct. Which we would expect.
Okay. With regard to DNA, did you obtain or were you able to obtain a search warrant for the defendant's buccal swab after her arrest?
That is correct.
And you can't just go swabbing people, you have to get a warrant for that, correct?
Correct.
Did you obtain a buccal swab search warrant for Deviere?
We did not.
Why not?
At that point, he had been ruled out as a suspect, and there was no probable cause for us to actually get his DNA.
And we're going to have an expert talk about DNA results, but very basically, did you learn that the DNA on the knot of the plastic bags came back to the defendant?
Correct.
And then the DNA on the driveway blood at Paladura and the blood on the victim's phone at Porcupine Rim come back to the victim.
That is correct.
Detective, I'm almost done with you. Just one little last line of questioning here. During the course of your investigation, you're receiving information consistently for an extended period of time.
Yes.
And ultimately, your job is to try to put it all together and see where it all fits, correct?
That is correct.
Were you able to establish a timeline based upon all the evidence for the homicide?
We were.
And fair to say that a forensic pathologist, medical examiner, they're a little wishy-washy when it comes to timing death, correct?
Right. You could say that, yes.
What did you conclude the time of death was for John?
So given all the evidence that we collected, phone data, and then the blood, the DNA, and stuff that came back to our victim, Johnathan, we kind of deduced that we know that he was last seen at the house at Paladura about 10-12 from Yoko and from Devyn telling us that, hey, yeah, Yoko saw him alive at about that time frame, 10 o'clock. And then we know that the last person to see him was Devyn, and then she left the house around 2 o'clock. And given the fact that we had the phone that had his blood on it, leaving the house at about 2:04, we know that definitely 2:04 was the end time. So between 10, I think it was like 10:12 when they arrived there, to 2:04 when she leaves, that would have been our time frame that we know the homicide would have occurred, given the fact that he didn't have any cuts on him. There was no other blood that would have been coming from Johnathan, except from when he was killed and then when his head was cut off. So that's how we can say that, yeah, the homicide would have occurred between that time frame.
That's what it is. Thank you. Coach.
Didn't they talk about a text message? Sidebar. Man, today's been a day of gremlins. They've been all over my butt. In the back office, I've been under attack, y'all. Bingo! I got dos. I got two bingos. What's left? Business records, cell phones, Google Maps, refer to notes, power tools, text messages outside the jury presence. Now, I'm not sure on a couple of these. Y'all may have to add them to my list. Everybody's like, bingo, 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 bingo. B-I-N-G-O, 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 and bingo was his name. Oh, I want to dog. Bingo was his name. Oh, I did hate this song when I was a kid. I did hate this song, and now I still do. GPS is marked off June. Google Maps outside jurors present refer to notes, power tools, business records. That's what I got. You got to mark up GPS, Miss June. It was said multiple times in the last 10 minutes. Thank you very much, Miss June. You've been doing great on these bingo cards, June. Everybody, give Miss June a round. Give her a round of applause, y'all, because she works hard on those. I don't know why that's real loud. Is that loud to y'all? Uh-oh. My mods are telling me to chat. Okay, Miss June. We good. We go good. We good. Oh. What are y'all doing this weekend? If I can get my hat done, I'm going to and get the money for gas. I'm going to go to San Angelo and get my graduation picture done. My daughter has a friend in college, and so they're going to do my pictures. Gonna get one of them going to do my hair. I was going to get all dressed, and we's going to get my pictures done so I can get my announcements and invitations out.
You must not refresh this to any news or media accounts or commented on the case. You must not do any research, such as consultation or using the internet or using reference materials. You must not make any investigation, test the theory of the case, recreate any aspect of the case, or in any other way investigate or learn about the case on your own. You must not form or trust any opinion regarding this case or responsibility. Ladies and gentlemen, 2:35 will be a recess at 2:50. All rise for the jury.
Woo! That woman is like, she speaks on crack, man. I want to know how much caffeine that woman drinks.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Actually, I do have it sped up a little bit, but she's still fast as hell. I do have it just a quarter. Yeah, but okay, let's do this. We can back that up. Okay, I want y'all to hear that normally.
In that time frame.
All rise for the jury.
Ew. We're going to download electronics over the books. No, go on the internet. Don't want to use your phone. We're going to now 2:35. We're going to be back at 2:50. Holy heck! I don't want to. I couldn't. I would say, Your Honor, my ears don't hear so fast. I literally would tell her, Your Honor, my ears don't hear so fast. I'm old. I had a friend, Sally. She sat on her answering machine. Thank you for giving us a call, and please leave a message. And remember, at our age, our ears don't hear so fast. So please speak your cell phone or home phone number clearly. Thank you. That's exactly how she did it. Loved it. When I got old, I said, that's what I'm doing.
Originally. So 4, I think, CSAs that collectively came.
So we're moving it up again because this is too dang slow.
You had testified that there were 11 electronic devices that were seized and examined as part of this investigation.
That's correct.
And what specific devices were those?
I'd have to review the reports as far as each specific device. I can't tell you off the top of my head.
Okay. You had gave testimony concerning a phone believed to be possessed and used by Johnathan, correct?
Correct.
And what was the phone number that was associated with that phone?
I couldn't tell you the exact number off the top of my head right now.
Okay. It was the phone number that you had alluded to during your direct just a few moments ago, correct?
Okay.
Fair to say?
Sure. Yes.
Are you aware that John used a second phone?
Not at the moment, no.
Are you aware of any analysis or call records that were reviewed in reference to phone number 725-279-1715?
Not at the moment, no.
You had given testimony concerning various items that you found both in the Porcupine Rim residence as well as the Paladera residence, correct?
Correct.
And you were asked to reference the swords in question, correct?
Correct.
Do you have that, Council? The swords? And we don't take issue with the photograph, but I have some questions concerning that. Thank you very much. In order to just not keep adding exhibits, we're going to use the state's exhibit. It's exhibit 659. These were swords that you gave a testimony concerning that were found in the Porcupine Rim residence, correct?
Correct.
You had testified that there was no blood on the blades, but all we have is this photograph of the swords, correct?
I believe I said that I wasn't positive as far as being blood on the blades, but as far as when we examined them, which I didn't examine myself, but was told that there was no blood or any type of evidence on them that we believe was evidentiary value, and that they looked like prop collector stuff items.
These weren't seized as part of this investigation, correct?
They were not.
They were not preserved or kept impounded into evidence, correct?
They were not.
So basically, we have this photograph of these 3 swords, correct?
Correct.
And your testimony is that, well, I think you said, I don't think there was blood on them, correct?
No, I believe that I was told that there was no blood on the actual swords.
And who would have told you that?
The detectives that were conducting the search warrant at the time.
Detective Lippisch, we heard from him earlier today, would have been Detective Lippisch.
I'd have to go back and see who was at the
He's enjoying saying that. Is that Detective Lippisch? Detective Lippisch? You're enjoying that name way too much. I can almost see your head shake when you go Lippisch.
house on the first search warrant at Porcupine Rim.
Hello.
We don't have any photographs wherein the blades were shown.
Good evening.
Reserved for a later hearing, like the trial.
That's correct.
No swabs were taken of either the blades or the handles, correct?
Correct.
Nope.
No analysis, forensic analysis was done of these blades, correct?
Correct.
No fingerprint analysis was done on these swords, correct?
Correct.
Including the blades.
Correct.
And we're dealing with a decapitation case, correct?
That's correct.
Fair to say that samurai swords would kind of fall in that realm of importance when it comes.
A true samurai sword? All right, I'm going to go there. A true samurai sword? Definitely. These are synthetic, copied, cheap collectors. I don't think those are like seriously heavy enough metal. Like, my brother had one and broke it cutting a damn watermelon. So, only one I could think is this little itty bitty black one right there. That might have been it. But yeah, I'm starting to question some of their lack of testing myself. He's making some good points here. There's a lot of evidence that they should have tested. Yeah, but I don't think these could have withstood doing the work that needed to be done without damaging them or be totally covered in blood.
Do a decapitation case?
And they're not going to take the time to clean them up and put them back like that. It's going to take a lot of cleaning to get those things done.
They were real samurai swords.
Well, and you're saying that you're not, but what do we have to show that they aren't?
We have the photographs. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, we have these photographs. We don't have a photograph of
Guys, look at my face. I want you guys, I'm wanting to say this so bad, and I'm not being racist or culturally inappropriate, but I want him to do this.
Dude, look at my face. Do you think I would know what a fake samurai sword would look like? Look at me! It's my culture, man.
Mang Ding Dang Hanging Pole, which is real.
Correct.
We don't have any analysis concerning the steel of which the blades presumably were made, correct?
Correct.
We just have this photographs of the swords, correct?
Correct.
There was a photograph shown, I believe it was the second day of trial, concerning the bathroom area of the Paladura house, the downstairs bathroom.
And I got chopsticks. How funny is that?
I've seen the crime scene photos, yes.
Was there any analysis done inside that shower?
Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you. I would say that there probably would have been. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head right now if there was analysis done.
No swabbing the interior of that shower, presumed to test blood, nothing?
That you would have to ask the CSAs that were conducting the processing of that house.
No DNA swabs submitted for further analysis of the contents of that shower?
Like I said, I wouldn't be able to tell you if it was or no. We didn't submit any swabs from the shower. I can tell you that.
Okay. You had testified that no guns were impounded through the course of this investigation, correct?
Correct.
And that was because I believe your testimony was that nobody had said anything about hearing a gunshot, correct?
That was part of it. It was also given the fact that we didn't have any bullet impact marks inside the house. There wasn't any blood spatter that you would believe to see from a bullet going through somebody anywhere inside the house. And then the fact that nobody had actually heard a gunshot or was reported a gunshot. So that was all part of it, correct?
You had testified that when you came across the body, you had noticed there was not that much blood found, correct?
Given the circumstances, I thought that there'd be a little bit more blood there.
So this crime scene, you'd agree, was something that was out of the ordinary.
Unique.
It was unique. I mean, assuming the head had been severed by a mechanical powered saw, we would expect there to be cast off from this saw, would we not?
I guess depends on what type of saw was used.
And you're aware of the analysis done by Dr. Burns, wherein she opined her conclusion is that a mechanical powered saw was used.
Correct.
In addition to a knife or perhaps a sword, correct?
I don't believe she said a knife, no.
But nonetheless, you didn't find anything indicative of a mechanical powered saw upon your review of the crime scene where the headless body was, correct?
Correct.
But we know, at least based upon the anthropologist's expert opinion, that a mechanical powered saw was used, correct?
Correct.
In reference to a gunshot, again, you're just presuming a gunshot didn't occur, a gun wasn't used to kill this gentleman, correct?
Given all the evidence that we saw at the scene, we hadn't had anything to say that there was a gun used in this incident.
But there's really nothing to show other than what the anthropologist found, that a mechanical powered saw was used, correct? I mean, we have an anthropologist that a mechanical powered saw was used, correct?
To sever the head.
Yes.
Correct.
And there was no evidence found concerning that mechanical powered saw, correct?
Correct.
You have a person that's dead, cause of death unknown, no guns are impounded or tested, correct?
Correct.
No gunshot residue tests are done concerning the decedent's body, correct?
Correct.
No gunshot residue tests are performed upon Deviere Willette's hands, correct?
Correct.
No gunshot residue tests are performed upon Devyn Michaels' hands, correct?
Correct. As stated previously, there wasn't any evidence to say that a gun was actually used. And to your point, as far as not doing GSR on our victim, there was chemicals poured on his body. So at that time too, even if there was believed a gun to be used, we wouldn't have been able to do that with him, given the fact that there was believed chemicals to be poured on him.
But his hands were bagged, correct?
After the fact.
Yes. And presumably the decedent's hands were bagged for further testing, correct?
Correct.
In fact, we know that the hands were swabbed for DNA, correct?
Correct.
But the hands were not swabbed for any gunshot residue tests, correct?
Due to the fact that there was no evidence to say that a gun was used during the incident.
Well, and we discussed the saw, no evidence of that, but we know
Correct.
what that was. But nonetheless, my point being, there was no gunshot residue test performed upon anybody's hands, including the decedent's, correct?
Correct.
You were present during the collection of evidence at the Paladura residence, correct?
I was present during the search warrant, but as far as being completed, I had myself and Detective Skinner had already left the residence to speak with Devyn and Deviere.
There had been questions asked days ago concerning rings. Are you aware of that? Were you ever looking for any rings, evidence of rings, like wedding bands, at the Paladura residence?
I was not.
And you were the lead detective, correct?
Correct.
You've obviously reviewed the crime scene
Power tools
photos
were
taken
mentioned.
at the Paladura residence, correct?
Correct.
There are no photographs concerning the contents exposed of those garbage cans, are there?
Correct.
Specifically,
Bingo.
exhibit number 68, it's a trash can downstairs. We have no photographs of what the contents of that trash can were, correct?
Correct.
In reference to electronic devices, I'm going to show you what's been marked and invited to state's exhibits 284 and 287. This is 284. This is the Porcupine residence. And I'm going to ask him some questions concerning electronic devices. We have an Xbox here, don't we?
That's correct.
Showing you state's exhibit 287. That's an Xbox here, correct?
I believe so. I couldn't tell you just looking at that picture right there.
You agree that the course of the investigation, reviewing text message and otherwise, Deviere Willette was a Gamer, wasn't
I don't remember saying that.
he? You're not aware?
Text
That's
message.
complaining
Bingo.
Devyn concerning
Bingo.
playing all the time. Not aware of that?
I have to review the text messages.
That's an electronic device, correct?
Correct.
And you're aware that gamers are able to communicate with one another through a game platform like an Xbox.
Correct.
That Xbox was not seized or analyzed for potential evidence, was it?
It was not.
So you'll agree with me that all of the electronic devices were in fact not seized or analyzed through the course of this investigation.
From your definition of electronic devices with the Xbox, yes, not all of them were.
Oh, no, you don't.
In particular, in the room that Devyn and Deviere shared, that was not collected, correct?
It ain't got no gas in it.
That one was.
It ain't got no gas in it.
You were asked concerning tennis shoes, shirt, shorts that presumably Devyn Michaels was wearing the night of August 6th, correct?
Correct.
This search warrant at the home was executed on August 7th, 6 p.m., give or take?
Approximately.
She had given an interview at 7:55 p.m. wherein she had discussed being in the terrible hurts with Johnathan, correct?
Correct.
The video that we saw from a prior witness, that was collected by Detective, I believe, August 11th. Does that conform with your recollection?
I don't know the exact date it was collected, but it would have been after the search warrant.
After the search warrant. So when we heard testimony from crime scene landless Miriam concerning, well, shoes weren't recovered, shorts weren't recovered. This search was going on when shoes were not being looked for, correct? The search occurred prior to your learning about the video and what Devyn was wearing, correct?
Correct. Or we had video from the Burlington Coat Factory, and I believe pictures that were being sent from the other detective that reviewed that video. So all we had at that point, I think, was the dress that we had actually seized from the residence at that time.
Let me ask you about that. Since we're on that point, do we have copies of this Burlington video that's been referenced to?
We do not.
You didn't preserve that, did you?
We did not.
Why?
So we've heard testimony concerning, oh, we're basically discrediting a story where someone comes up to the daughter, but we don't have the benefit of that video to review, do we?
No.
Why not?
There are a couple of photos that were taken
Bruh.
to the Porcupine Rim search. I'm going to show you what's 265A. I'm sorry, it's
Oh,
just 265. We do
no, this
see
is not good.
a couple of tennis shoes.
Not good at all.
don't we? Black with white soles.
Yes,
Those were not collected through the course of this search warrant execution, were they?
they were not.
I'm going to show
What did you
what's been
collect?
Admitted as stakes exhibits, exhibit 292A. Presumably, this is a closet in the Porcupine Rim residence, correct?
Correct.
We have tennis shoes up here, don't we?
That is correct.
But those weren't collected or put into evidence, correct?
They were not.
Why not?
We had heard testimony from Dr. Burns in reference to a bone chip missing when the head was severed at the Paladura residence. Was
Cell
a
phone
bone
with
chip ever
suspension.
recovered at the crime scene?
No.
Was a bone chip ever looked for in the crime scene?
No.
Were the blankets surrounding the body booked into evidence?
No, bone
I
chip.
could not
Never
say
mind.
off my
Sorry.
head.
If I told you that there's been testimony that there wasn't, would you have any reason to disagree with me?
If you told me, say that again.
That they weren't?
That they weren't taken.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Would have any reason to disagree with you?
The blanket on top, the surrounding, I mean, the mattress, none of that was taken and impounded into evidence, correct?
Correct.
There was testimony from the last witness elicited concerning footprints in the backyard of the Paladura residence.
Did they mention cell phone? I could have sworn they did. Could be wrong.
We had marked and admitted, and the court will have exhibits of footprints. You were aware of these footprints in the backyard?
Correct.
They were measured?
Correct.
Any further analysis done on the footprints in the backyard where this dead body's found?
As in what type of analysis?
Size comparisons,
To
male, female,
What other voices would there be, June? I don't have anything else playing. Gremlins attacking again?
Two sides.
I do not believe so.
They were documented, but they weren't followed up on, correct?
Correct.
Are you aware of what size Deviere Willette his feet are?
I could not tell you off the top of my head, no.
Were any of his shoes seized?
No.
Fair to say that those photographs appeared fairly recent footprints, based upon the review of the photographs?
I could not tell you if they were recent or not.
Okay. But they were fresh. I mean, they were there. They were in sand, correct? Presumably the elements wouldn't have changed them or flattened them. I mean, we've seen pictures of those photographs, or we've seen, those have been admitted as exhibits. No follow-up investigation in reference to that, correct?
Well, we didn't have any evidence to say that somebody had come through the back towards the end of the investigation. So as far as any comparisons done, like you're saying, yeah, no, there were no comparisons done after the fact.
How about the directionality? Were those footprints leaving the residence or entering the residence?
I don't think you could tell whether or not.
But it's your testimony.
I am playing some sounds. I played bro.
Bruh.
I played.
Oh, no, you don't.
And I
It
played.
ain't got no gas in it. It ain't got no gas in it.
That's what I played.
Nonetheless, that because Deviere's phone was at the house, he was basically eliminated as a suspect, correct?
On
There's
top
the
of
phone.
his statement, Devyn's statement, the cellular phone, correct. His vehicle never left the neighborhood. Both vehicles never left the neighborhood.
Bingo.
And the girls were there at the house that he had to watch.
But the girls were asleep, correct? The girls were, I mean, they're going to school the next morning. That is fair to say. The girls were going to school the next morning, correct?
Correct.
Girls weren't up all night, were they?
I couldn't tell you if they were up all night or not. I just
That's it. Ain't got no gas in it. Not A, it's G. Ain't got no gas in it. Meaning, you full of shite. That's how I feel right now, y'all. Ugh. I'm going to have to get me a new chair. One just like this. I love this chair, but I'm wearing it
know
out.
that there was a text message also from Deviere to Devyn stating, I think it was around 10:30ish, where he said that he was going to sleep and the girls were already asleep.
But we don't know whether he stayed there or not. His phone stayed there. We don't know if he stayed there, do we?
Given all the video surveillance, given his phone, vehicles, nothing left the neighborhood. You could say that.
Oh, I got it.
There was a walkway, and we addressed it with the last detective. One house over from the Porcupine Rim residence, correct? One could walk out of the neighborhood and not be seen. Fair to say?
Correct.
He could have gone over the back fence because it was on Rebecca. He had butted against the street, correct?
Correct.
There was a presumption that perhaps someone had driven, but again, the video coverage of the Porcupine Rim residence was not perfect, was it?
Surrounding Porcupine Rim?
Yes.
It was motion activated.
Correct. And subpoenas were an issue to get the entire documentation of the comings and goings, correct? Homeowners were relied upon, correct? And whatever they turned over.
Correct. But if you have motion activated cameras, they would have access to all the activations that are with the cameras. So subpoenaing, if you're asking us if we subpoenaed the actual company, see if there's extra video.
You weren't.
We didn't.
It definitely ain't got no ass in it. I will tell you that. You're right. This evening we can be a little freer with words. But I got to tell you, I am shocked at the level of lack of evidence collecting, because there's some things. I mean, yeah, I don't think the samurai swords could have they could have stabbed, but sawed the head off. I don't think those were like little trophy toys, little cheap replicas. That's what I'm looking for. Those were replicas. I don't think those had any strength in the steel. I don't think it was steel, actually. At all. There's a lot of things I agree that should have been collected and at least swabbed, and they didn't do that. So, honey boo, there's some problems in this here. We got some problems down in this here. This here got some problems. what's the word? That's what I feel about their investigation right now.
Had to rely upon the voluntary participation of the neighbors, correct?
Correct.
And you'll agree with me, sometimes in Clark County in the Vegas Valley, oftentimes neighbors don't necessarily, they aren't the most cooperative, fair to say.
Not getting a warrant before, even though they would have turned it over, you get a warrant and then you get the timestamps, you get all the information. When you're relying on somebody else for snapshots and recordings, you're not going to always get what you need.
In reference to the analysis of Deviere's phone, while that phone was at the Porcupine Rim residence, there wasn't any activity on it during the night, correct?
Activity as far as what?
Anything on the screen, apps, things being done. Are you aware of that?
That I couldn't tell you.
If a phone is left and a person crosses the valley, if there's no activity on that phone, that would be consistent. The person isn't with that phone, correct?
Say that again?
Yeah, if a phone is left, let's say a person leaves his residence, okay? Let's say Deviere leaves the Porcupine Rim residence and goes to the Paladero residence and he leaves his phone behind. You wouldn't expect for there to be activity on that phone, correct?
Correct.
And the lack of activity on that phone would be consistent with that phone having been left there, correct?
No, not correct. I leave my phone at home. There's still activity. The activity is when someone calls it, when someone drops a text, when someone sends an email, all of that. That's still activity on the phone. It's just I'm not engaged in that activity. So get your question. Think about those questions a little bit better, boo. Yeah. I leave my iPad here. There's still a lot of activity, but I'm not engaging in it. You can't assume because it's left home that there's no activity.
You testified that no.
You want to say when the phone is left at home, then we can easily assume there is no engagement between the owner of the phone and the phone itself, correct? Sometimes I wonder about the lawyers and their questioning.
DNA evidence was taken from Deviere to compare it with any DNA that was taken, correct?
Correct.
You had testified that you did not obtain a warrant to do that, correct?
Correct.
You could have gotten that DNA by asking him for it, correct?
For consent, correct. We could have asked them.
Are you aware of that was ever done?
No, it was not.
It was assumed from the get-go that he was not involved because his phone was at the house that night, correct?
And everything else that we listed that ruled them out.
You've had cases wherein a person goes and commits a heinous crime and leaves a phone behind, correct?
It's happened.
Are you aware that Deviere worked for Hometronics? He was involved in installing home security systems?
That's what he advised me, yes.
Are you aware that he had tools and that he installed hundreds of security systems in homes across the valley?
I don't know how, as far as the amount of stuff that he has installed, but yeah, he had mentioned that he installed security cameras and hung TVs and stuff like that.
Home entertainment systems?
Pretty much.
And you'd agree with me that in order to install a home entertainment system, you need to have tools like a mechanic powered saw, correct?
That I couldn't tell you what exactly. I can tell you from experience, as far as me hanging TVs and doing security cameras, I used the drill bits, and that's it.
Speakers, you got to cut the drywall, put speakers in.
If that's what you're doing, as far as going into the wall.
You had testified that you had sealed up and taken the Nissan Armada, correct?
Say that again.
The Nissan Armada, you testified that it was basically sealed up and submitted for tests, correct?
It was sealed and then towed to the station, yes.
And that was done in order to obtain any trace evidence, blood, DNA, things of that nature, correct?
Correct.
And the results of that analysis was negative in reference to a crime having occurred, correct?
Correct.
No blood was found.
No blood was found inside the vehicle, no.
No DNA being traced back to Johnathan was found, correct?
Correct.
You know, you had testified that you said something about spots, water on the vehicle. It was your opinion that maybe the vehicle had been washed. Is that correct?
Correct.
Did you take any close-up photographs of that to substantiate that, or is that just an assumption that you're making?
That's from looking at the vehicle on scene, and yeah, noticing that there were water spots on the vehicle.
The inside of the vehicle was kind of a mess, wasn't it? Maybe not teenager mess that we heard from another witness, but I mean, it was not very clean, was it?
I guess it was whatever you consider clean. It was cleaner than my vehicle, so I considered it clean.
We had heard testimony, I believe it was from Detective Spangler concerning a stop at Funnies. Are you aware of that? Under the analysis of the Burla, the morning of the 7th.
No.
We'd heard testimony, I think Detective Spangler had referred to it as Burla, or I'm sorry, through his analysis is like a Funnies car wash, but Funnies is a gas station, isn't it?
I couldn't tell you.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as defense exhibit X3. Move to admit, move to publish.
Did you say X3?
X3.
Okay, X3 be admitted.
This is Funnies. There is a car wash off to the side. There's also gas pumps, correct?
Correct.
As far as the analysis of the location of the vehicle, are you aware that it's consistent with being at a gas pump versus a car wash?
Like one or the other?
Yeah. No analysis done on this?
As far as it going to fill up gas or going through the car wash? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. We heard testimony from part of your team that the vehicle stopped here, presumably after going to the school on August 7th.
Yeah. If you're asking if we can say that it went through to get gas or the car wash, I couldn't tell you which one it did.
We heard testimony that under the Burla that it was turned off, the vehicle, when it was at Funnies. Are you aware of that?
No.
You agree with me, you turn your car off to fill it up with gas. You
Yes.
don't leave your car running generally,
No.
correct? You drive through a car wash, don't you?
Correct.
Are you aware of the movements of this armada the morning of the 7th?
Not all the movements, no.
Okay. Through your investigation, you learned that Devyn took the girls to school, correct?
Correct.
In fact, you had learned earlier through your investigation that there'd been a discussion with Johnathan, the girls going to the school next to Devyn's house, correct?
Correct.
Took the girls to school that morning, went to Funnies, fair to say, got gas.
I can't dispute that now.
Okay. Also went to Taco Bell, correct?
Like I said, I don't know all the exact spots that the vehicle went.
You had given testimony in reference to the wallet belonging to Johnathan's Social Security card. You recall that testimony?
Yes.
There had been evidence found through the extraction that Johnathan had lost his wallet and then found it August 6th of 2023, correct?
I don't remember the exact dates, but I do remember, yes. That Devyn actually mentioned that to us also, and that we did see the pictures in the phone.
Okay, so Devyn told you that he had lost the phone the day before, August 6th, and then the phone analysis confirmed that there was text between the two of them where he'd lost his wallet.
Lost it, yes, correct. Lost the wallet, not the phone.
Okay, the wallet, Social Security, those have been lost and they've been found just the day before, correct?
Correct.
You'd agree with me that obviously finding those items in the house would be consistent with Johnathan moving into Devyn's house, correct?
No.
Well, I mean, he'd lost his things. She had told you that he had lost things before.
June, they did mention power tools.
And she'd given him items, correct?
That's what she had told us, yes.
All right. And you've moved before. You'd agree with me that moves can be hectic, correct?
Correct.
Especially if girls, young ones are involved, correct?
Correct.
All the evidence points to the days leading up to this that a move was occurring, wherein Johnathan was moving in with Devyn, correct?
Correct.
The girls had been at Devyn's house since around May 27th of 2023, correct?
I don't know the exact day, but I believe that she told us they were there up until school ended, and then once school ended, the kids went with her.
Yeah, and they were with her all summer, correct?
Correct.
And then through the course of your investigation, you learned that they were going to try things again and that Johnathan was moving in with her and the girls, and that was the plan, correct?
That's what we were told, yes.
Through your investigation, walking through the house at Paladera, there are empty alcohol bottles, correct?
Correct.
Through the course of your investigation, you learned that Johnathan was a drinker.
Correct.
Through the course of your investigation, you learned that he had been drinking throughout the day of August 6th.
That's what we were told.
His key, and you've given testimony concerning the truck pulled in front of the Paladera residence like it was almost going to be a temporary stay or something. Remember that testimony?
Correct. That's what it appeared to look like.
But you'd agree with me that the truck's pulled in, he's been drinking. A reasonable person would probably take the key away from him if there was a concern about him drinking and driving, correct?
Sure.
You would testify that when you came up the driveway, Porcupine Rim, it's your testimony, you saw a cell phone off to the side, correct?
Correct.
That was the side of Devyn's vehicle, correct?
Correct.
You would testify that she was moving things. It appeared she was carrying items into the residence, correct?
That's what it appeared to be.
You can't say when that phone was dropped, whether it was accidentally or otherwise through the course of this move, correct?
No, not exactly.
You are aware through the analysis of the phones that Devyn had sent a voice note to Jonathan's phone about 4 a.m., correct?
Correct.
And that concerned registering the girls in the morning, correct?
I believe so.
You'd agree with me that one interpretation of that is that Devyn thought that he was alive, correct? She was complaining about his failure to register the girls.
Sure.
I mean, you said sure. You're agreeing that's possible.
I can agree with
isn't
what
it?
you're saying. Yes, it's possible.
And that through the analysis of Devyn's phone, she had received several calls the night before from the landline of her home, correct?
Correct.
11 calls, correct?
From the landline?
Yes.
I don't know the exact number.
You're also aware through the analysis of the phones that the night before she'd been with Jonathan until about 1 a.m. and that she'd received a number of phone calls from the landline from her home address, correct?
She would have been there till at least 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, the night before. So she was there late 2 nights in a row, correct?
The night you're talking about, the 5th?
Yes.
That I'm not sure as far as how late she stayed there at that time.
Okay, but she'd received a number of phone calls from her home 2 nights in a row, correct?
I don't have anything to dispute that. No.
And there was a landline at her residence, correct?
That's what she told us. Yes.
Deviere, if you're aware, has testified that there was no landline at the residence. Are you aware of that?
No.
You had been asked concerning your interview with Deviere and how he had minimized the relationship, the type of relationship that he had with Devyn, correct?
Correct.
He outright lied to you, didn't he?
Like I said, he minimized his relationship with her. Yes.
He was asked by you if they slept in the same bed and he said no, correct?
Correct.
That was a lie, wasn't it?
Correct.
You had asked him if they were intimate and he said no, correct?
Correct.
That was a lie, wasn't it?
It's what yeah, he told us, and what Devyn had told us also.
They were both minimizing that relationship. They were both covering for Deviere. Isn't that right?
Minimizing their relationship.
Later on through the course of the interview, Deviere says that he didn't know his dad was moving in, correct?
That's what he had said.
That was a lie, wasn't it? Based upon the analysis of the phones and interviewing witnesses, correct?
That he didn't know that his dad was moving in?
Yeah.
I think through the course of the investigation, he had said that, yeah, he didn't know, but it was aware that the plan was John was going to move in. Because I think he actually had said during our interview that he knew that Yoko was trying to kick him out because he wasn't paying rent. And at the same time, he basically was told that he wasn't going to allow his dad to be homeless. So he said, yeah, I don't want my dad to be homeless. So I'll agree. And I was just going to move out for a little bit. And
but then he later was untruthful in saying, in reference to the knowledge of his dad moving in and him having to move out, correct?
I don't believe that was in the interview that I conducted.
Okay. You had testified that when you interviewed him in the morning of the 7th, I'm referring to Deviere, he told you he'd been drinking, correct?
Correct.
But you're unaware if he'd been drinking continuously from the night before, correct? You don't know.
I don't. Just from what he told me, that he started drinking as soon as he got home after finding out about his father's death.
Are you aware of where he went the morning of August 7th?
Not specifically. We do have his phone tracks that show that he had driven around town.
Okay, but you really didn't follow up or look too closely at that because he really wasn't on the radar. In fact, he was told that he was under the radar, correct?
Correct.
Detective, you'd agree with me that this was not a complete investigation.
No, I would not agree with you.
So it's your testimony this was a complete investigation?
Yes.
Given all the things that we have talked about, it was a complete investigation. That's your testimony.
Correct.
Finally, in reference to the autopsy, you testified that you were present during the course of the autopsy, correct?
That is correct.
And you reviewed the autopsy report?
Correct.
In your opinion, was the autopsy report correct concerning its various findings? And I'm not asking for a legal opinion, but was it accurate?
I can't argue that it wasn't.
Okay. States here, page 2, tattoos, and this is in reference to Jonathan's body. It states no tattoos identified, correct?
I couldn't tell you if that was part of it, no.
If I may approach the witness?
Yes.
I'm referring to page 2 of the autopsy report.
Which part are you referring to?
Tattoos.
Yes, it says no tattoos identified.
Okay, these two marked. That's the next couple of defense exhibits. Why is he in Z3?
Yes, Y3 and Z3.
Y3. Showing you what's been marked, and I'd move for admission. There's no opposition.
Y3 and Z3 are admitted.
Fair to say that that's a tattoo on Jonathan's arm, correct?
Correct.
Appears to be his right arm, correct?
I couldn't tell you from this view.
Z3, left arm, correct?
Correct.
So we've got a mistake made, at least one of, I'd submit many, concerning the autopsy. It states no tattoos. He's got tattoos, correct?
Correct.
Move for admission of A4. This is Jonathan's hand. Appears we've got a wound on that hand, don't we?
From the picture, yeah, there's a wound there.
Court's indulgence. Just one final question. Through the course of your investigation, you came in contact with Principal Leatherman, and it was learned that Johnathan and Devyn were planning on enrolling the girls to the school to Devyn's house, correct?
Through that interview, I found out that Devyn was trying to.
Then you make reference to Johnathan wanting to enroll the girls with her, correct? At the school near her house.
I believe so, yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Detective, at the beginning of Mr. Draskovich's cross-examination, he referenced a potential second phone for Johnathan. Is that correct?
Correct.
Just want to clarify, no cell phone associated with John was found at Paladura, correct?
Correct.
No cell phone for John was found anywhere inside the Paladura scene.
Correct.
There was the phone found for John at Porcupine Rim,
That's correct.
the one in the driveway.
Yes,
And then you got the CDRs or call detail records for that phone.
that is correct.
Just so the jury understands, the 11 devices that were submitted for forensic analysis, those were all found inside the Porcupine Rim home.
That is correct.
So if John may have had a second phone, it's not his active phone at the time.
That is correct.
In fact, there's activity on John's phone on the 6th into the morning of the 7th, and we know that's the one he was primarily using.
That's correct.
With regard to the swords and the shower at Paladura, you indicated that you don't know what exactly was done with those items, correct?
Correct.
But you can say that the swords were found at Porcupine Rim, the shower would have been at Paladura. We agree there.
That's correct.
And if someone has an item in their home, do you expect for DNA, their own DNA to be found?
That is correct.
And so let's talk about the swords for a second. If defendant's DNA is found on it or Deviere's, would that be shocking considering the fact that it's in there?
No.
Same thing with the shower. There's been testimony that Ms. Michaels has been in and out of the Paladura home several times. John obviously lives there. Deviere's lived there in the past. If there's DNA found in the shower, would you be shocked by any of those people?
No.
That's not necessarily an investigative tool that will help you answer an unanswered question.
Correct.
There was some questions about the shoes and the clothing associated with the defendant, and I just want to make sure everyone understands. There was the initial search warrant at Porcupine Rim on August 7th, correct?
Correct.
And then at a subsequent date, I can't remember off the top of my head, they went back and took more photos.
Correct.
And they found those blue shorts.
That is correct.
Okay. The white tank top that you see in that Chevron video, was that ever found?
No.
And then there was photos of, I believe it was 2 sets of black and white shoes. You recall that?
That's correct.
But your testimony is no one ever found the black and white shoes with a big white Nike swoop.
That is correct.
That was seen in that Chevron video.
Yes.
There was some also questioning about The amount of blood, you would expect more, correct?
Correct.
You cannot testify to this jury whether or not the person who did the killing put a towel over the head or anything like that when the real wet work was happening, correct?
Correct.
In fact, there's evidence to suggest there's a lot of evidence removed from the scene.
Correct.
One big glaring piece of evidence, correct?
That is correct.
At least. There was some testimony about the shoe prints in the backyard.
Yes.
It's kind of the same line of questioning. You can't time shoe prints, correct?
No.
So if there is a shoe print in the backyard, it could be from anyone who's ever been in that residence.
Correct.
Now, the point Mr. Draskovich made is a good one. Maybe wind blows and it would look more weathered or something, but you can't say when that shoe print was left, no matter how much testing you do with that.
I could not know.
You were discussing how you ruled out Deviere and you kept saying it was a multitude of things. It wasn't just you take his word for it that he wasn't there, correct?
Correct.
Never. Showing you state 663, you recognize that?
Yes.
What is that?
Google map showing directions from one place to another.
And specifically walking directions from 5510 Porcupine Rim to 2698 Paladura?
Correct.
I move for the admission of that.
No objection.
663. Just real quickly for the record, what's the walking distance between the two?
Looks approximately 7 hours and 27 minutes.
And that's, to be fair, that's just one route. Like I'm sure there's hundreds of different combinations of streets you could take, correct?
Correct.
But fair to say it's quite a ways across town.
Correct.
And you indicated that the video surveillance ruled out Deviere's vehicles from having either left his home or entered the scene.
Correct.
At Paladura.
That is correct.
Mr. Draskovich asked you about activity on Deviere's phone. He's basically saying like it was left at home.
Bingo!
Correct.
And asking if there is activity on it. And I believe his question was that would be consistent with him not being with the phone. Remember that line of questioning?
Correct.
It would also be consistent with him being asleep.
That is correct.
So that doesn't tell you much. And would you defer to the expert that we haven't called yet, Clinton Campbell, Detective Campbell, when it comes to any technological findings on the phones?
Yes.
Okay. So he's better suited to answer those.
That is correct.
Mr. Draskovich asked you about these post-homicide texts to John from the defendant, correct?
Correct.
And he said one interpretation is that she thought he was alive, correct?
Correct.
Another interpretation is that she was alibying herself, correct?
That is correct.
In fact, the killer in this case took substantial steps to cover up what he or she had done, correct?
Correct.
And taking a head from a crime scene is kind of the extreme example of covering up.
Very extreme.
Not exactly shocking to see an alibi text.
Correct.
The autopsy, there was just an autopsy photo shown, suggesting Mr. Draskovich's word was wound on A4. Remember that?
Yes.
You're not a forensic pathologist, correct?
Correct.
You're not a medical doctor, correct?
Correct.
Would you defer to the doctor's testimony as it relates to injuries?
Correct.
Have you ever heard the term slippage before?
Yes.
Understanding you're not a doctor, so if you're not comfortable answering, what is slippage generally?
After basically we say slippage, skin slippage, at post-mortem, the body starts to decay. When you touch the body, the skin actually can start slipping off the body since it's decaying at that point.
Okay. And so when you agreed with Mr. Draskovich, hey, that looks like a wound, ultimately you're going to defer to a medical doctor as to whether that's a wound or not.
Correct.
Detective, I apologize. I forgot to put these up before. May I approach? You recognize all of these?
Same.
Yes.
And those are all
Same.
images of the relevant folks we've been talking about.
Correct.
Judge, I move the admission of 13, 609 through 613.
Number 13, 609 through 613.
No objection.
Thank you. Just for the record, 613, who is that?
Masao Yoshida.
612, who is that?
Victim Johnathan Willette.
611, who's that?
His mother Yoko Willette.
609, who is that?
Deviere Willette.
610, who is that?
Devyn Michaels.
613, who is that?
Johnathan with his 2 kids.
Do you see the defendant who you arrested for murder with use of deadly weapon here in the courtroom today?
I do.
Can you please point to that person and describe something she's wearing today?
We stipulate ID of Devyn Michaels.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll pass the witness. Thank you, sir.
As far as deferring to the medical doctor in this case, that's the same medical doctor that said that there were no tattoos, correct?
Correct.
No further questions.
No, thank you. Do the ladies and gentlemen have any questions for the witness? You write your question on a full sheet of paper with your name and your jury number.
We're almost done, y'all.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
How are you employed?
I'm currently a forensic scientist at the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department Forensic
Woohoo!
Laboratory, and I'm in the biology DNA unit.
How long have you worked in that capacity?
I started part-time at the laboratory in January of 2020. In February of 2020, I was promoted to a forensic laboratory technologist. And then in October of 2022, I was promoted into a forensic scientist position.
You mentioned your unit is the biology unit. Is that right?
Correct, biology and DNA.
And what is that unit?
We primarily focus on examining items of evidence for biological fluids, such as semen, blood, and saliva. We also do examine items for what we call trace DNA, and we examine those items, we take them through the laboratory process, and then I also write reports.
And you mentioned trace DNA. Can you please define that for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
Trace DNA it was previously referred to as touch DNA. So it's commonly items that are handled, clothing that's worn by somebody, and essentially what it is the skin cells that come off when you're handling items.
And you sort of touched on it, but can you go in depth about what your duties are in your position?
Sure. In the laboratory, I can take physical items of evidence. Again, I'm looking for any signs of those biological fluids. And once I take those items, they go through a laboratory process. And then at the end of that process, data is generated. Once I have the electronic data, I can then evaluate that and make any comparisons to known individuals. And I do write reports.
And what is your training and experience that makes you qualified to be able to do this work?
I hold a Bachelor's of Science degree from the University of Nevada, Reno. And then during my first position as a laboratory technologist, I underwent a training program. And then once I was promoted into my current position, I also went another training program. During that time, essentially, we work on mock casework. We go through a series of tests. We also do competency testing just to ensure that we're able to work on real life casework. And then during that real casework, we're also supervised by other analysts in the lab.
In addition to your previous training, do you also do ongoing training to make sure that you're up to speed on all the modern technology out there?
Yes, every year we have to undergo at least 8 hours of continuing education.
And you're up to date on that?
Yes.
You mentioned that you work at the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department Forensic Lab. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that an accredited lab?
Yes, the lab is accredited.
What does that mean?
Essentially, accreditation is the recognition by an outside body that the laboratory is meeting a certain set of standards. And then also within that, we undergo audits. And essentially, accreditation shows that the lab is producing reliable work.
And have you testified in court before?
Yes, I have.
And I believe you mentioned that one of your job responsibilities, in addition to conducting analysis on different pieces of evidence that are collected, you actually draft reports based on your conclusions of your testing, correct?
Correct.
And are those reports reviewed by another person before they're actually released?
Correct. Within the laboratory, our electronic data goes under one set of review. And then once the case file is put together, it undergoes a technical review, which is where somebody else looks to make sure that all the procedures were followed. And then after the technical review, an administrative review is done. And that's looking for things like grammar, spelling, things like that.
Now, do you conduct DNA analysis as part of your duties?
Yes, I do.
Can you explain to us what is DNA?
DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. It's essentially the backbone of our bodies, and it's useful within forensics because it's what we are able to use to differentiate individuals. So your DNA would be different from yours and so on, unless you have an identical twin. That's the only time someone would have the same set of DNA. And within that DNA, we're looking at portions of it, which are called alleles. And from those alleles, you receive one from your mother and one from your father. And then within our data, that's what we're looking at when we're making comparisons from the evidence to the reference standards.
Now, in your work of DNA analysis specifically, are there things called known samples versus unknown samples?
Correct. We refer to evidence samples as unknowns because we don't know who the evidence is coming from. And then known samples are also referred to as reference standards. So that's when a sample is collected from the inside of somebody's cheek, and then we use that as that individual's known standard.
So those terms are interchangeably used then?
Correct.
So known sample and reference standard?
Correct.
If you have a known sample or reference standard, how would you go developing a profile from that sample?
The unknown, so the evidence samples and the reference standards essentially undergo the same process. The first step in that process is actually screening the item. So commonly we see swabs. So the swabs will be cut into a tube. Then the next step is called extraction, and that's where chemicals are added to the tube. And what those chemicals are doing is essentially trying to break apart the cells to get to that DNA. And then once we have that sample, we take that to quantitation. Quantitation is where we use an instrument to see how much DNA is present there. It can also show things like how much male DNA is present, if the sample may be degraded, things like that. After that step, we go to amplification. It's essentially like a Xerox machine. So what that's doing is making copies and copies of the DNA. which takes us to what we call our loading phase, or where the data is actually generated by another instrument.
So when we're dealing with an unknown sample now, is it common to obtain multiple different DNA profiles from that?
So we can see different things. So we can have what's called a single source sample, which means that it's only coming from one individual, or we can have a mixture sample, which means that we're seeing multiple people's profile in the same sample.
And is it possible with an unknown sample, occasions where you may not get a profile at all?
Sure, it depends on a lot of different things. So environmental factors. So say, for instance, if a sample was left out in the summer in Las Vegas, that DNA would be very degraded and we may not get a good sample. But there's different things, such as, say, if someone is really good about washing their hands, they may not leave much DNA behind. If an item is out in the public and a lot of people could be touching it, we would see more people in the sample. So there's quite a few different environmental things that can play a part in that.
Another example could be someone wearing gloves, right?
Correct.
Less likely to leave something behind in that case.
Yes, that's correct.
Now, you touched on this a bit. Are there different sources of DNA? I know you talked about trace DNA, but are there other sources of DNA?
Yes, commonly within the laboratory, the best sources of DNA that we see are things like blood, semen, and saliva. So those biological fluids.
When you say best sources, what does that mean?
They commonly are just, those fluids have a higher amount of DNA present compared to skin cells that can be left behind.
And then again, the trace DNA is skin cells that are left behind.
Correct.
Now that we have a little bit of a background, I do want to talk to you about this particular case that you're testifying for today. Did you conduct an analysis on items impounded under an event number 23-15229?
Yes, so actually within this case, I did process an item of evidence, as well as another laboratory technologist in the lab. We do what's called group work. So she also did process items, and then I received the electronic data from her.
But ultimately, you're aware of all the testing that was done with
Correct.
these items, correct?
Yes.
Because you're making the conclusions.
Correct.
And it was under that event number, those items, correct?
Yes.
And that's a Henderson event number.
Correct.
And there were several items that were tested, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Can you talk to us a little bit about when the lab is receiving items, how are they packaged?
Most commonly, we see items within manila envelopes or brown paper bags. Everything is sealed with evidence tape, and on that tape, it typically has the date and the person's initials and P number, or their personnel number. So that's the person that actually packaged those items, impounded them into the laboratory. And then when we receive those items, they are processed through an evidence technician, and there's also an electronic chain of custody.
And a report number is typically listed on the items as well?
Yes.
Now, when you're conducting an analysis of different items, such as the ones in this case, are there precautions that are taken to ensure the integrity of the items and that remains intact?
Yes, so within the laboratory, when we are first receiving a package, we make sure that everything is sealed. There's no signs of any tampering or tears within the package. Then whoever's handling the package does wear gloves and a face mask and a lab coat. We make sure that there's only one item of evidence open at a time, so that way nothing can be mixed up, put into the wrong package. The main thing that we're trying to prevent is any contamination. So whether that could be contamination from us onto the item or from item to item. And then once we examine an item of evidence, we do swap out any paper that we use on our lab bench. We bleach down all of our instruments. And again, we just make sure we only have one thing out at a time.
So then, knowing that, I want to turn your attention to some of the samples that you did an analysis on in this case. Specifically, I want to start with the reference standards from both Johnathan Willette, which was lab item 5, as well as Devyn Michaels, lab item 11. You're aware of both of those, correct?
Yes.
Specifically, the reference standard for Johnathan Willette was in an impound package number 1678-004.
Correct.
And then the reference standard for Devyn Michaels was in an impound package number 1554-001.
Correct.
Can you walk us through the analysis done on those items?
So with the reference standards, we actually examine all items of evidence first before touching the reference standards. Again, that's just to make sure that there's no contamination between the known samples from the individuals to the items of evidence. And those items essentially undergo the same process. So they go through the extraction stage, quantitation stage, amplification, and then the data is generated from those.
Okay. And are these reference standards, I mean, do they come in what we call a buccal swab?
Correct. So the buccal swab kit is just a little white envelope. Those are again sealed with evidence tape. And then inside is commonly a swab box with two, they look like very large Q-tips. And those are what's used to swab on the inside of somebody's mouth.
And that's what was done in this case?
Correct.
Now I want to turn your attention then to an apparent hair lab item 19.2. There wasn't a long analysis on that, correct?
No, that was not tested.
Okay. And that was just found during your analysis of all the items, correct?
Correct. The laboratory technologist found it on another item of evidence, so she just packaged it and put it with the original evidence.
Okay. Then going to lab item 1, there was swabs from Johnathan Willette's cell phone screen. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that was from an impound package number 2312-004.
Correct.
And did you prepare a report in conjunction of your analysis of that sample?
Yes.
And your understanding of this sample was that there was a positive presumptive blood test, correct?
Correct. So what that essentially means is when we're doing the testing, if we see something that may resemble blood, we use it's essentially a color change test. So the technologist will take a small sample of that, apply chemicals to the filter paper, and if there's a color change, that indicates that it's a presumptive positive test for blood.
And in this case, you were aware that the owner of the phone was Johnathan Willette, correct?
Correct.
So he was then considered an assumed contributor, correct?
Correct. We do what's called an assumption when we are aware of, say, swabs are coming from somebody's body or an item of someone's, in this case, it was his cell phone. So I was able to look at the data and assume that his DNA was present. And again, in my conclusions, there was also no foreign DNA indicated.
And what is foreign DNA?
In this case, foreign DNA would just be from somebody besides Mr. Willette.
And there was no foreign DNA, is that right?
Correct.
Now, are there better sources of DNA than others? I think you touched on this a little bit about blood and saliva and things of that nature having more DNA contained in it.
Correct.
Then turning to the swab from underneath Jonathan's left-hand fingernails, that was lab item 6, correct?
Correct.
And that was collected under impound package number 1678-003.
Yes.
Walk us through the processing of that item.
It was essentially the same processing. So again, it went from the extraction stage to data generation. In this case, again, since it's a swab coming from his body, I'm able to make the assumption. So assuming that he is a contributor, there was also no foreign DNA present.
Now let's go to the swab from underneath Jonathan's right-hand fingernails, lab item 7, correct?
Correct.
That was impound package number 1678-003.
Correct.
Same sort of processing as the left hand.
Correct.
Any results from the right hand?
In this case, or excuse me, for the sample, looking at the data, it was what we call too limited, which means that there wasn't enough data there to basically make any interpretations.
And when you say not enough data, what do you mean by that?
Within the laboratory, we have internal validations, which essentially show values for how much DNA we're expecting in a sample to generate a profile. So looking at this sample, because it didn't meet our thresholds, it wasn't processed further, or once it was processed, excuse me, can I start over with that one?
Sure, go for it.
It did meet our validation, so it was processed to the data generation phase, but then once we received the data, at that point, there weren't enough alleles present to make any further interpretations.
And are you surprised by this at all?
No, we commonly see that.
Okay. Now I just want to go back briefly to the swab from Johnathan Willette's cell phone screen that you conducted analysis on, that we just talked about. You recall that?
Yes.
Did you look at the profiles of it and compare that to the alleles?
So what we do when we're looking at data is essentially we do look at all of our evidence first before we make any comparisons. So looking at the cell phone sample, it appeared to be one male contributor. And then at that point, I take that profile and I do compare it to the reference standards. So it was consistent with Johnathan Willette.
And the reference standards, plural?
Yes, all evidence samples are compared to all reference standards.
Okay. And in this case, there were multiple, correct?
Correct.
Devyn Michaels and Johnathan Willette.
Correct.
Okay. Moving on then to the swabs of placard number A, that was lab item 2, correct?
Correct.
And that was contained in impound package number 1951-005, correct?
Yes.
How was that item processed?
For this sample, there was also a positive presumptive blood test. So again, it was a color change test and the color change was indicated. The laboratory technologist did take that forward. And then with that sample, when I looked at the data, there was one male contributor detected. And when we're looking at our data, we also generate statistics. So our statistic is called a likelihood ratio. And essentially what a likelihood ratio is trying to do is answer the question of how many times more likely is it to observe the DNA profile if the person is a contributor than if they are not a contributor. So in this case, I did generate a likelihood ratio for Johnathan Willette.
Okay, and do you recall what that was?
May I reference my report?
Absolutely. Your Honor, may I approach? Yes. And with Your Honor's permission, I believe there's stipulation with defense. If I could leave these reports up here, just because there are multiple pieces of DNA that she may not have memorized.
And that's completely fine.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
We're just not testifying from it. So specifically, swabs of placard number A, do you recall the likelihood there?
Yes.
What was it?
So Devyn Michaels was excluded from the sample. And it is 223 octillion times more likely to observe this DNA profile if Johnathan Willette is a contributor than if he is not a contributor.
How many zeros is that?
It's 223 with 27 zeros.
27 zeros?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else from that specific item?
No.
Okay. Moving on then to the swabs of placard number B, lab item 3.
Correct.
And you conducted testing on that.
Yes.
impound package number 1951-005.
Yes.
And did that item undergo the same processing as the sample from placard A?
Yes, I had the same a positive presumptive blood test, and then it was also one male contributor with the same statistic as the previous sample.
And what was the statistical conclusion again?
It is 223 octillion times more likely to observe this DNA profile if Johnathan Willette is a contributor than if he is not.
And was someone excluded?
Yes, Devyn Michaels was excluded.
Again, 27 zeros?
Yes.
For the inclusion of Johnathan Willette?
Correct.
Anything else from that sample? No. Moving on to the swab of the lemon ammonia bottle lab item 12. You conducted testing?
Yes.
That was in impound package number 2102-001.
Yes.
What was the testing conducted on that item?
This item did not undergo the whole process. So once we got to the quantitation stage, it was determined that there was not enough DNA present in order to produce a profile. So we did not take it forward.
What determines whether or not there's enough DNA?
Again, with our internal validations, that's kind of what determines our values when we're looking at the quantitation stage. And then based on those values, if it doesn't meet that threshold, then we drop the sample, or essentially we just don't take it forward.
Now, certain surfaces can provide more conclusions, right? Meaning some surfaces hold DNA better than others.
Sure, certain things, say if something is more porous or there's more textured surfaces, that can often be better sources of DNA. But again, it just depends on a lot of environmental things, or if the items were cleaned, things like that.
Including wearing gloves, right?
Correct.
Now I want anything else from that sample?
No.
Okay. So moving on then to the swab of the soft scrub cleanser with bleach bottle, lab item 13, you conducted testing.
Correct.
That was in impound package number 2102-002.
Yes.
And there was testing conducted on that item, correct?
Yes.
And what was the result of that?
Why did they do the test in December? I mean, come on. These poor kids. Dang. I hated those things. Absolutely hated them. I don't believe those tests actually show what some kids are capable of.
Again, is sort of like the last item. So it did
I have
go
an
up to
opinion.
the quantitation stage. And again, there was an insufficient amount of DNA, so it wasn't taken forward to data generation.
Anything else from that sample?
No.
Moving on to the swab from the textured surfaces of a wooden stick, lab item 15. You conducted testing.
You are too sweet.
And that was in impound package number 2102-004/001.
Yes.
And there was testing conducted on that.
Correct.
What was the process for that?
In that case, a profile was generated, but within the profile, there was indications of a mixture. So I could see that there was more than one person present. But again, because the data was too limited, I could not make any further comparisons.
Okay, moving on to the swab from the textured surfaces of a doggy door cover, lab item 16. You conducted testing.
Yes.
And that was in impound package number 2102-003-001.
Yes.
What was the testing conducted on that item?
That sample went to the quantitation stage, and at that time it was determined there was an insufficient amount of DNA, so it was dropped at that time.
Again, that in-house validation you talked about earlier.
Correct.
Now, are you surprised by this with, trace DNA samples and things of that nature being what they are?
No, it's commonly seen within the laboratory.
And we kind of already went over this, but certain surfaces are easier to lift DNA from than others.
Correct.
Moving on to the swab from the garage door opener button, lab item 17. You conducted testing.
Yes.
And that was contained in impound package number 1951-006-007.
Yes.
What was the processing of that sample?
Data was generated for that sample, and looking at it, I determined that there was 2 contributors present. At least one was male. Devyn Michaels was uninformative, so that essentially means that there wasn't statistical support for an inclusion or an exclusion. And then there was support for inclusion for Johnathan Willette.
Now, looking specifically at the inclusion of Johnathan Willette, what was the statistical conclusion of that?
It is 194 million times more likely to observe the DNA evidence if Johnathan Willette is a contributor than if he is not a contributor.
How many zeros is that? About 6?
6, correct.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that it was uninformative regarding Devyn Michaels, correct?
Correct.
But there was a statistic related to that.
Correct. So we do still receive that likelihood ratio. In this case, it was 0.0108.
Now, your lab, as well as yourself, conducted analysis on some bags that were impounded, correct?
Correct.
Now, I want to talk specifically about the swabbing of the outside and inside of the wallet, including all pocket openings, also known as lab item 18.2.
Yes.
Testing was done on that.
Correct.
Impound package number 2312-002-002.
Correct.
What was the testing on that sample?
Data was generated for that sample. Looking at the profile, I determined it was a 4-person mixture. At least one was male. And there was actually support for inclusion for both individuals. And then since there is support for both, we do what's called a combined support for inclusion. So that means that we're ensuring that the statistic shows they can be present on the sample together.
So you said both. What do you mean by both? Who?
Oh, I'm sorry, for both Johnathan Willette and Devyn Michaels.
So both Johnathan Willette and Devyn Michaels are included.
Correct. There is support for inclusion for both individuals.
And what was the statistical conclusions? Let's start with Johnathan Willette's first.
His likelihood ratio was 13.6 times 10 to the 27th, which is the octillion.
And how many zeros is that?
27.
Okay. And how about Devyn Michaels?
766 times 10 to the 21st, which is sextillion.
21 zeros?
Correct.
Now the combined statistical conclusion, what was that?
It is 2.8, I'm sorry, I'm going to read this just because it's long, 10 decillion, which is 10 to the 54th, times more likely to observe the DNA evidence if both Johnathan Willette and Devyn Michaels are contributors than if they are not contributors.
And how many zeros is that?
50.
Anything else from that item? No. Okay, let's move over to swabbing of entire contents of wallet, also known as lab item.
In other words, boo, you screwed.
Item 18.3, you did testing of that.
Correct.
And that was contained in impound package number 2312-002-002.
Correct.
What was the testing on that sample?
Data was generated for that sample, but looking at the data, I determined that there was a mixture of at least 5 contributors. And our software program, we are only validated to evaluate samples with up to 4 contributors. So in this case, it's called too complex, so I could not make any further interpretations.
Anything else from that sample?
No.
Moving on then to the swabbing of a knot of plastic bag containing wallet, also known as lab item 18.1. You conducted testing.
Correct.
And that was found in impound package number 2312-002-002.
Yes.
What was the testing of that item?
Data was generated, and it was determined to be a mixture of 3 contributors with at least 1 male. Johnathan Willette was uninformative, and there was support for inclusion for Devyn Michaels.
So you mentioned what uninformative was previously, but you were able to come up with a statistical conclusion still, even though it was uninformative.
Correct.
What was that statistical conclusion involving Johnathan Willette?
The likelihood ratio for that is 6.18.
And then how about Devyn Michaels, who there is support for inclusion?
It is 90 octillion times more likely to observe the DNA profile if Devyn Michaels is a contributor than if she is not a contributor.
And how many zeros is that?
27.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that there are multiple contributors to this bag, correct?
Correct.
Are you surprised by that?
No, it's commonly seen. Again, it could be something in the environment, or think about if you get bags from the store, you don't know how many people are touching the bag. So it's commonly seen with trace DNA like that.
So if bags are reused multiple times, there could be more than one contributor.
Correct.
Now, can you talk to us briefly a little bit about transfer DNA and what that means?
Essentially, transfer DNA, I can give an example of, say, if we're shaking hands, and then so I would get some of her DNA onto my hand, and then I go to touch the door when I'm leaving, I could possibly leave some of her DNA on that door, even though she hasn't touched the door yet. So we commonly do see transfer with items, but within our testing, we're not able to say like to what degree, if any, DNA was transferred.
Moving on then to swabbing of social security card from Johnathan Willette, also known as lab item 19.1. You did testing on that.
Yes.
That was contained in an impound package number of 2312-002-005.
Correct.
What was the testing of that sample?
Within that sample, it was determined to be a mixture of 4 contributors with at least 1 male. And there was support for inclusion for both Johnathan Willette and Devyn Michaels. And then, so since there's support for both, I also calculated the combined support for inclusion.
Let's start with the individuals. So let's start with support for inclusion of Johnathan Willette.
It is 32.3 trillion, so 10 to the 12th.
And then what about Devyn Michaels individually?
413 million, which is 10 to the 6th.
And now the combined inclusion, including both.
It is 6.28 nonillion, which is 10 to the 30th, times more likely to observe the DNA profile if both Johnathan Willette and Devyn Michaels are contributors than if they are not contributors.
So 30 zeros, correct?
Correct.
Court's indulgence. Pass the witness.
Yes, briefly. And in reference to the reference standards, generally taken from buccal swabs or otherwise, correct?
Correct.
In this case, we just had two reference standards, correct?
Correct.
Johnathan Willette and Devyn Michaels, correct?
Yes.
There was no reference standard submitted for your evaluation concerning a Deviere Willette, correct?
No, I did not receive a standard for him.
Fair to say that based upon your analysis, we had DNA attributable to Devyn Michaels and Johnathan Willette on the plastic bag containing the wallet, based upon your testimony.
So yes, there was support that they could be contributors to the profiles. Yes.
Same thing concerning the outside and inside of the wallet, correct?
Yes.
Devyn and Johnathan, correct?
Correct.
And again, you're not able to say how long that had been there. It could have been a day, it could have been months, but we have basically DNA that's attributable to these two individuals, correct?
Correct. Within our testing, we're not able to say when someone's DNA was deposited or how. We're just able to say that it's there or not.
And again, this DNA is possible to be transferred. There have been questions concerning that, but also just by merely handling it. We leave epithelial cells, we can leave DNA on things that we touch, correct?
Correct.
And again, you found that DNA attributable to both Devyn Michaels and Johnathan Willette on the bags that you evaluated, correct?
Correct.
As well as the wallet.
Correct.
The cell phone, however,
No.
possible to
No.
transfer. There have been questions concerning that, but also just by merely handling it. We leave epithelial cells.
That
we can
wasn't
leave
supposed
DNA
to
on
happen,
things that we touch,
Boo.
correct?
Correct.
And again, you found that DNA attributable to both Devyn Michaels and Johnathan Willette on the bags that you evaluated, correct?
Correct.
As well as the wallet.
Correct.
The cell phone, however, there was only one individual, correct?
Correct. I was only able to, again, assume Johnathan Willette on the cell phone, and there was no foreign DNA noted.
Specifically that of Devyn Michaels, correct?
Correct. She was excluded.
She was excluded. As far as the swab taken from underneath Johnathan Willette's right hand, that was lab item number 7.
Okay.
Your findings were the DNA profile obtained is consistent with at least one male contributor, correct?
Correct.
That would be, there could have been more male contributors, correct? Based upon the wording of this, at least one.
Well, for example, for this sample, the data was too limited, so I'm not able to make any further comparisons. I was just able to see, based on certain gender markers that we have, there was data present showing that there was a male, but I wasn't able to make any further comparisons.
Okay, and that would be one male in addition to Johnathan Willette, correct?
No. So within the sample, I'm not comparing it to his DNA. I'm just essentially looking at the data, seeing.
By the way, Pussycat, this is a sign for kitty cat. Like you're pulling the whiskers. Welcome back, baby doll. Yes, we're almost in our 13th hour of streaming. We just hit 13 hours.
That there is at least one male present, but the entire profile is too limited, so I'm not comparing it to Mr. Willette or Mrs. Michaels.
Okay, and just so we're clear, you just had the two reference standards, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Court's indulgence. And just briefly, if something has blood on it, is it possible to subsume other sources of DNA as a result?
Are you able to reword the question?
Yeah, that was probably very confusing. So if there's a blood sample, is it possible that the blood being so saturated that it could subsume other sources of DNA?
Well, with our testing, we're not confirming if it is blood or not. Our testing is just a presumptive test, so it gives the indication that blood may be present, but I can't, basically, I can't confirm that it is blood present. So what we're doing is just showing, blood may be indicated, and then DNA is also there. So we're not able to say for sure this DNA is coming from the blood. And then also, I'm not sure how the cell phone was swabbed, so I wasn't the one collecting it, so I'm not too sure, how they handled that evidence.
So if I were to touch an item, with my finger, for instance, but then my nose started bleeding and it went on the item, would that make a difference?
Well, in that case, I wouldn't be able to tell, if her DNA came from the skin cells or if it came from her blood. Essentially, it would just be showing that her profile would be present.
Past witness.
Follow-up question. This is my cell phone. I handle it. You presume that my DNA would be found on this, correct?
Yes.
And that would come from the epithelial cells of my fingers on this cell phone, correct?
Yes.
So presumably, if a person handled the cell phone or carried it, you would expect to find that person's DNA on the cell phone, correct?
Correct.
And in reference to the cell phone that you had tested, only Johnathan Willette's DNA was found, correct?
Correct.
No further questions.
House
No foreign DNA, correct?
Correct.
On the phone.
Correct.
Nothing further.
Any follow-up?
No, Your Honor.
Gentlemen, the jury have any questions for this witness? Okay, would you like to watch that whole to the table with your name and your jury?
We got a sidebar. Where's my sidebar? I can't do it as good as she did. I mean, this woman can do sidebar like there's no business, like show.
Sidebar.
There you go. Sidebar. The reason we have that particular sidebar is because of the Karen Reed trial. Yay, yes. In a minute, y'all don't go anywhere because in a minute, I'm going to give you the rundown. I'm going to break everything down. We do have a question from the jury. So now the judge is going to read it. She's going to see if it's something that can be asked, and she's going to let the attorneys look at it. They're going to either accept or reject or object, and apparently.
Ma'am, there's been testimony that Devyn and the kids touched the phone. Why would there not be?
So I'm going to slow this down because this judge talks a flipping 100 miles a minute. So I want to understand her. So here we go. I'm going to slow her down. Maybe. She talks about it like this fast. I expect you to understand everything she says. When you're deaf and lip reading, you can't do that.
DNA. Only that Devyn and the kids touched the phone. Why would there not be DNA?
Again, there's a lot of environmental factors. So again, if someone was wearing gloves, if the item was cleaned recently, some people are what we call shedders, so they just naturally leave more DNA behind than others. So there's a lot of different factors that can play into that.
State any follow-up based on your question.
Court's indulgence. It's possible any item that I touch, I could not leave DNA, correct?
Correct.
Pass witness.
Oh, depends any follow-up based on your question.
So when you see a CSI show like Bones, and I love Bones, don't get me wrong, we watch it nightly. We go to sleep watching Bones. Okay, we're telling Maud secrets here. But anyway, the thing is this. When you touch things, you don't always leave DNA. Some of this stuff is people think is so true and easy and real is actually Hollywood. It is not as easy as people think. And just because there's hair left behind does not mean you can get DNA. You need to have the tip on the end of it with a root, so to speak, is what some people call. It has to have that moist tissue attached. That's where the DNA is. So DNA is not as easy as people think it is. I'm touching my microphone, but that doesn't mean that there's enough DNA there for them to extract. Just saying, y'all. We're almost.
I think we have another juror question coming.
I love it when jurors have a question. When a juror has a question, it's really good because that gives us a little bit of an insight on what the juror is actually thinking. And sometimes it's very telltale. I mean, sometimes these questions are better than the lawyer's questions, in all honesty. You know, I got to say, I want to know what I wish they would have said is why did they not collect all that evidence that they left? The samurai swords, oh, there's a lot of surfaces they could have swabbed. There were tennis shoes that they should have taken.
I don't have any indication for that. We don't really study that within the laboratory. So
let's go back.
Ma'am, would a child be less of a shedder?
I don't have any indication for that. We don't really study that within the laboratory, so I'm not sure.
Okay. State any follow-up.
Question. How much shed? I mean, would a child shed less than an adult? In proportion, probably so because they don't have as much skin surface. But not every adult sheds at the same amount as every other adult. Some less, some more. If you were my ex-husband, my God, you were you'd have green sheets on the bed, the deep forest green. Remember when that was popular? You get up in the morning and it looked like somebody had dumped salt all over the bed. So yeah, it just depends on the person and the dry skin.
Additional question.
No, Your Honor.
Does the defense have any follow based on any of the jurors?
Just briefly, you have to rely upon what's provided to you, correct?
Correct. We just receive a very brief case scenario, so I don't know, much of the information. I only know where some of the swabs are coming from, and then the parties within the case.
You have to rely upon law enforcement, presumably in this case, that collected this evidence and ultimately turned it over to you, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. No further questions.
Any follow up on that statement?
No, Your Honor.
Do ladies and gentlemen have any further questions for this witness? Okay. Right question on a full sheet of paper with your name and your journal.
While they're doing that, I'll let you know the Philadelphia Eagles are 10. The Green Bay Packers are 0. So we're going to go ahead and just hold on, y'all. I'm going to give closing in just a second. So a lot of times in these shows, they can look at bones and they go, oh, this was the male, and this happened, that happened, this happened, that happened, without actually deskinning it. It's just to move the show move it along faster. Things don't happen as quickly as they do on TV. Not that we can't do what they do on TV in most part. Well, if you're listening, Miss Joe, get a load of this. My professor, sidebar. We got another sidebar.
Sidebar.
My professor, one of the two, called today and said, honey, you have been doing so good at that. This particular class, you don't need it. It's all about critical thinking, and you are a high critical thinker. So I'm going to give you an A. I'm giving you the highest score. Don't worry about turning in homework. Don't worry about any of the exams or tests. You're done. He said, you've turned in enough work for me to sit there and validate my score. So I only got one class between now and graduation I have to worry about. Thank you, Jesus. Oh, it was awesome. This here is the defendant. She is accused of unaliving the father of her children and the father to his son. She married his son, who's like 20, 30 years younger than her. I don't know. Let me find that information while I'm waiting on court. Volume is up. I'm trying to find out the age difference between. I graduate December 3rd.
Okay, ma'am. Given the blood on the cell phone, is it more likely that that area was swabbed?
Again, I'm not sure. I don't know.
Okay, ma'am. Given the blood on the cell phone, is it more likely that that area was swabbed or swabbed? I'm reading captioning.
Oh, how much possible blood was present on the phone. So I'm not sure if that was the only area that the crime scene analyst swabbed, or if they swabbed the entire phone.
Does CSA document their swabbing procedures when they turn in a sample, such as the area swabbed, the number of times, things like that?
I'm not too sure, especially since it's an outside jurisdiction. I'm not sure how Henderson handles their cases.
I do have a couple of questions.
Okay, you're going to try to go to order, Mr. President.
Thank you. And that brings forth a question. The samples that you had analyzed on the phone, you would testify that obviously it was Johnathan Willette's DNA, correct?
Correct.
You're not able to say whether that was in fact blood, are you?
Correct. Again, it was just a positive presumptive test for blood. So it was an indication, not a confirmation.
Okay, so it could have been epithelial cells and not blood.
Correct.
It could have been fluid from a blister, something like that, correct?
It could be a mixture. So with the test, it is, it gives the indication that it's blood. So not, we're not going to have all these different substances that would give a positive test. There are a few things that could give a false positive, like certain, there's certain foods, like enzymes in food that can get, I can't name one off the top of my head, but there's different things like that that could give a false positive, but the test is specific to enzymes within our blood.
But you can't say that it was blood, correct?
Correct. I can't confirm that it's blood.
Thank you. No further questions.
Any follow-up based on the, no. Do the ladies and gentlemen of the jury have any further questions for this witness?
All right, she's done. So let me give you the lowdown, everybody. Give me just a second to switch. I want to give you all the lowdown. We've got some news. I'm gonna get all this up and going on. So here we go. The context and details of Devyn Michaels, age 47, former adult film star, actress, cone star, as we call it, also known by alias of Nikki Fairchild, Tracy Tavares. She has been, I'm sorry, I just had to do it. It's late night, guys. I got to get my late night with Delilah voice on. She has been at the center of a highly publicized trial in Nevada. Deviere Willette, age 29, her husband, yes, 18 years, who is also her de facto stepson. He testified in court that he had married Michaels before his father's red rum. Yes, I said the age gap is 18 years. She's 47, he's 29, making her nearly 2 decades older than him. Why does this stand out? The relationship drew attention not only because of the significant age gap, but because Michaels married her stepson after previously being in a relationship with his father, Johnathan Willette, age 46. This unusual family dynamic became central to the trial narrative, adding layers of complexity to the case and public fascination. Today is day 5 in the Devyn Michaels love triangle beheading trial. Testimony centered on the forensic evidence, police procedure, and the handling of potential weapons. The witnesses called this day were crime scene investigator who testified about the conditions of the home where Johnathan Willette was unalived, described the blood evidence patterns and discovery of swords inside Michael's residence, confirmed that none of the swords were ever tested for DNA or blood residue, raising questions about whether the investigators overlooked possible red rum. Weapons that, okay, I'm going to pause here. Think about it. There are 3 samurai, fake samurais. I don't think they could do a complete beheading, but they can definitely unalive with a stab or a jugular. So he expanded on the collection of other physical evidence, including the photographs and bagged items. A detective from Henderson Police walked through the jury through the timeline of the investigation, discussing how Devyn Michaels was identified as the prime suspect, admitting that certain items were not processed thoroughly, including the swords, which could have been relevant to the case, answered defense's questions about whether the investigation was rushed or incomplete. Medical examiner forensic pathologist testified that the cause of death was blunt force trauma followed by decapitation. Yes, decapitation. His mother found his decapitated body on a bed under a bunch of sheets and blankets. Poor mama. Providing graphic but clinical details about the victim's injuries, confirming that the wounds were consistent with heavy blade objects, though the exact weapon was never conclusively identified. Defense pressured the examiner on whether the injuries could have been caused by one of the untested swords. No bueno. Key themes for today is uncertainty about the red room weapons. The swords were found in Michael's homes, were never tested, leaving that gap in the prosecution's case. Bingo, really good for the defense. Forensic evidence investigation lapses. Witnesses highlight strong physical evidence of brutal killing, but also admitted to shortcomings in the police's procedures. Defense strategies by focusing on the untested swords, and the defense suggests that the investigators failed to rule out other suspects and scenarios. The prosecution strategy emphasized the brutality of the unaliving of Michael's motive, argued that despite the investigative gaps, the evidence points squarely at her. Summary: today was dominated by forensic investigative testimony, The witness, crime scene investigators, detectives, and medical examiners painted a picture of horrific killing, but also revealed critical oversight in the evidence testing. This gave the defense room to argue that the state's case was incomplete, while the prosecution leaned heavily on the sheer brutality of the crime to keep jurors focused on Michaels as the killer. And that was today. Yay! I want to thank everybody for being here, but also want to thank so much my mods. This has been literally a 13-and-a-half-hour day. Right now, we have the Rockets beat the Wizards. Woohoo!
Breaking news.
Rockets beat the Wizards. And right now, the Eagles are beating Green Bay. Woohoo! I guess. I don't know. Neither one are my team. It is 10-6, Eagles over the Green Bay Packers. Yes, I do have it, the score up here. I am not watching, but it's monitoring it. I want to give a shout out, Miss Joe, if you're still watching. Miss Joe, not Joe, but Miss Joe. She is a dear friend of mine. She's an interpreter at my church, and that's a fabulous thing because I actually can sit in church and understand what's going on. President just signed to reopen the government. Hallelujah! Now, in the state of Texas, some people got a portion of their food stamps. I only got $16 today. Yep. $16. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah. So thank God the government's going to open. I really feel bad for all the government workers that are not getting paid and all the government workers that are having to work without pay and their families are struggling. I think June brought a good point up to me the other day on the phone that yesterday, that since Coast Guard is not officially a part of the military, their homeland, everybody in the Coast Guard, none of them get paid, but they have to work. Kid you not. Now, I don't know if that was changed. I think, wasn't it, Miss June? You can say yes or no in comments. But the last time this happened, or at some point, they were working for free, boo. They did not get paid at all during that time frame. So there are people who are working in government who are not getting paid, and I feel bad for them. My heart goes out to them. This has been a difficult time for everybody, and I want to thank those who help out people who are struggling. Thank you so very much. Those of you who are wanting to know, the reason why this is showing up the background is because it's a lime green color. But I am working on my graduation hat. All of this on this side of that what looks like the background is going to be beaded. So I'm beading the entire outside, and then I have my powwow drop feather that's going to go on it. I'm so happy. Miss Joe, I'm going to bring you all my cords so you can see them Sunday. I'm going to go get my pictures done on Saturday, Lord willing, if the weather's well and everything goes fine. No, I'm not correct. Correct me. You said at one point they did not get paid, unless I didn't hear you right. But there are a lot of government people who are not getting paid, so everybody should start getting paid. I wonder how long it's going to take for them to start sending the checks out. Y'all keep all of our students in your prayers and teachers and professors, because the next couple of weeks are always the hardest part of this part of the year. And everybody gets grumpy. Everybody's tired. Everybody's so ready for the holiday. So keep everybody in your prayers. We had somebody in our chat this morning, I can't remember her name, who was watching us while she was laying on the gurney in pre-op because they delayed her surgery. So she was watching us. I was like, oh my God, that's so sweet. So we hope and pray that you are recovering well, love. Also, I want to say that Angela, Turtle Mom, I am so blessed and grateful that you are healing and on the path to recovery. I have several friends that were government husbands and wives, and because they were federal, neither one of them got paid for 43 days. They couldn't pay their mortgage. Yeah, that's horrible. Absolutely horrible. And it's so sad. So sad. All right, guys. With that, everybody, be blessed. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May you have sweet sleep and may you rise happy and refreshed first thing in the morning, because we're not going to be on until 10 a.m. Yes. So this 13 and a half hour day works. All right. So we have a giveaway streams to do, y'all. But guess what? I only have 2 entries in this evening's bingo. But I have this morning's bingo. So we're going to do the bingos real quick. Let me show the bingos. Let me get it up on the screen. Here is the bingo card, business records, and outside the jury presence. We're not done. So I have a total of 10 bingos on my card. So you should, if you're like me, you need to be saying bingo, bingo, I bingo, B-I-N-G-O, and get it up there now because I'm doing the drawing. I'll give you 2 seconds and a shake to get it up there because this girl's tired. This girl has been live since 8 a.m. Actually 7:30 because I came on. Oh, we're actually 14 hours in now because I came on with that breaking news this morning. Breaking news. Okay, we're going to share this. This is our first bingo. Let me get over here and get the music going. I need to wake y'all up. How about electric? Come on, just gonna stop. Joe Schmo, you got the first bingo today. I'll tell you what, because I can and because I love y'all. All right, Miss June, you got the second one. Woohoo! Okay, now here's this one. I only got 2 bingos in this one. So I'm sharing it. One of my mods is going to win it tonight. It's okay. Angela, Turtle Mom. Woohoo! You won it, boo. Yes, you did. Okay, guys, it is time for me to get a nice shower. I gotta wash my hair. Takes all night for my hair to dry, and even then it doesn't dry. But I gotta wash my hair. It is time. Yes, it is. I have been pretty all day for y'all. I have. And it's time. This is the moment. This is the hour. They come off. Oh. All right. Oh, snap. What time are they starting? 8 a.m. tomorrow? Oh, I forgot. No, wait a minute. No. Not true, June. Because the jury, we're not going to sit and go live and listen to them argue for hours over the jury instructions. There's no sense in it. So what we're going to do is the jury is supposed to be at 11. That's 10 o'clock my time. That's 8 o'clock your time. So I'm going to go live at 11. And then they're going to finish what they're doing. Then they'll read the jury instructions. Then we'll hear what they did. And then they will do closing arguments. And Friday will be closing arguments. And Friday will then also be the jury deliberation. So we'll be live at 10 Central. June, that's 8 a.m. for you. Boo. So you're good. Night, night, everybody. Thank you so much for having us. And Chris, happy birthday, beloved. And I hope it was awesome. Until tomorrow, 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. I see you then. Good. Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. I hope you have an awesome day